What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
10MT. Chapter 331 I think he can be rescued. Advertisement. Partner news. What the hell, how the yellow flash would be Susanoo. Such a huge Susanoo is not even comparable to Uchiha Madara's. It wasn't just Kakuzu who was shocked by Namikaze Minato's move of Susanoo, every member of Akatsuki's organization, as well as Senkage were stunned on the spot. These 4 battles are just the beginning. Konoha's people actually cheated like this, one by one they started cheating. What's more, all the Buddhas can open the Susanoo, and they are the perfect Susanoos, and they are the perfect Susanoos that are bigger than the other one. How to fight this? Just Uchiha Shisui, Namikaze Minato, and Hitaki Kakashi with a full-body Susanoo in hand is enough to sweep the entire battlefield. Spiral Flash Super Round Dance Roar 4 Style. Kakuzu, Tiandao Pain, Senkage and others were dumbfounded, but Namikaze Minato himself was not. To earn a reputation beyond first Hokage, he worked hard. Not only went all out, but also showed a very good ninjutsu, and the name of this ninjutsu is also very good. What nonsense name. In Kakuzu's mind, there was only time for such a thought to emerge. Susanoo of Namikaze Minato has already raised a huge arm that can grab a normal-tailed beast, and then condensed a huge yellow Rasengan like a mountain, and then pressed it with one hand on Kakuzu. Boom. One hit. This Spiral Flash Super Wheel Dance Roaring form. Actually, it is the Susanoo version of Rasengan that directly blasted the ground into a terrifying pit with a radius of a kilometer. Such enormous destructive power is beyond the scope of Rasengan. Not to mention a spiral gun. As for Kakuzu, this rebellious ninja who once threw a shuriken at Senju Hashirama from a distance, now let alone 5 hearts, the body below the head has all disappeared. At this time, only a bald head was left lying quietly in the center of the Tionking. Oops, I seem to be too heavy-handed. Seeing this scene, Namikaze Minato's face suddenly changed. Advertisement. In fact, he said just now that he was going all out, but in fact he still left room for it. After all, how far Kakuzu's strength has reached, he can tell it with a little perception and a few glances with the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Can be helpless. It is too tempting to surpass the reputation of first Hokage. This reputation still made Namikaze Minato give up the idea of show operations and adopt a wave of instant kills. Although he released the full-body Susanoo in this blow, he only used a normal Rasengan. Haven't added nature transformation on this basis, let alone Shanshu, and also haven't added the pupils of his left and right eyes. So many raw materials are not added, he is just to avoid blowing Kakuzu into dust with one blow. Unfortunately, he's really thoughtful. In the end, Kakuzu was not beaten into dust, but Kakuzu was beaten to the point where only one head remained. Hey, Kakuzu, don't die. Say it, tell me I surpassed first Hokage. This is what you promised me. I accidentally beat you to death. But you haven't done what you promised me. Namikaze Minato hastened to control the complete body. Susanoo carefully twisted Kakuzu's head out of the sinkhole, and then said excitedly while shaking. God Pain. Red Sand Scorpion. Ask for flowers. Konan. Black-White Zetsu. Ninja Alliance. White Zetsu Army. For Konoha Shinobi, witnessing Namikaze Minato being so brutal, beating Kakuzu until only one head remained, and still refusing to let him go, twisting his head up and whipping his corpse, everyone felt shuddering. Advertisement. Minato, calm down. Hitaki Tsukumo saw that Namikaze Minato lost his composure, so he quickly dodged and landed in front of Namikaze Minato. Master White Fang, how do you make me calm down? 0. Kakuzu promised me, but he has no credibility. I died before I personally admitted that I was a ninja beyond first Hokage. Namikaze Minato didn't listen to the persuasion, but was extremely excited. But he's dead. Hitaki Tsukumo is a little helpless. Is it true that few people who open Sharingan are normal? How come Namikaze Minato, who has always been a showman, lost his composure like this? I think he can still save it. Namikaze Minato glanced at Kakuzu's head and insisted. Luo Hao, Hitaki Tsukumo, Ant Snake, Tsunade. Nara Deer Long, Might Guy. Facing Namikaze Minato's crazy appearance, not to mention enemies like Senkage, even Luo Hao and his own people can't stand it anymore. No way. Kakuzu was bombarded by you until only one head remained. You still said you can save it. How do you let us rescue? If you want to rescue, it is estimated that you can only use the resurrection technique to rescue it. Advertisement. Chapter 332 Black Zetsu. Crazy. They are all adding drama to themselves. Advertisement. Save it. Hitaki Tsukumo has a big head. Although he got a Tensagen of the same quality as Rinnegan of Sage of 6 Paths, he has specialization. A quality eye does not mean that what Rinnegan can do, Tensagen can do. Similarly, what Tensagen can do, doesn't mean Rinnegan can do it. In the final analysis, Tensagen and Rinnegan are 2 categories, 2 fields, and 2 different pupil techniques with their own strengths. When it comes to managing life and death, of course Rinnegan is better at it. Obviously, Hitaki Tsukumo has not mastered the technique of resurrecting people similar to the outsider Rinne Tensai technique. At least, his Tensagen, 047, does not currently have this ability. Dear for a long time. Thinking of resurrection, Hitaki Tsukumo immediately looked at Nara Shikaku in the distance. No way. Namikaze Minato's indomitable appearance obviously meant that Kakuzu would never let Kakuzu admit that he was a ninja beyond first Hokage. As ninjas from the same village, of course we have to help each other. After all, this is something that Luo Hao advocated vigorously. Ninjas from the same village must love and help each other. No way. Nara Shikahisa rubbed his forehead helplessly. This is too much trouble. As smart as he is, he naturally understands the purpose of Hitaki Tsukumo calling him over. It's just that he has calculated everything, and his cleverness has never counted in his life. After he got the Rinnegan, the first person to be resurrected was not a close relative or a friend, but an enemy ninja who was beaten by Namikaze Minato until only one head remained. And the purpose of resurrecting him is just one sentence. In order for the other party to shout, I would like to call you a ninja beyond first Hokage. Come here quickly. You don't want to see Minato go crazy standing in the field all the time, driving a Susanoo, screwing Kakuzu's head. Even if you want to, I don't want to. Advertisement. Hitaki Tsukumo was out of breath. What a joke. If Namikaze Minato did this, he would feel ashamed to follow along with him. After all, he is also a member of the Konoha Shinobi. What a hassle. Nara Luju complained, but her actions were extremely honest. Indeed, Namikaze Minato did such an embarrassing thing, he didn't want to be embarrassing along with him. After making complaints, he had already come to Hitaki Tsukumo. Minato, let go of Kakumuro. Do you still want him to come back to life? Seeing that Namikaze Minato still refused to let go of Kakuzu's head, Nara had no choice but to resort to such a killer move. Survived. By the way, Luju, your eyes are Rinnegan who control life and death. You can rescue him. Namikaze Minato's eyes lit up, and he woke up from the madness instantly. Immediately afterwards, he carefully placed Kakuzu's head in front of Nara. Heretic Rinne Tensai Technique. The resurrected person, for Nagato, the leader of the Akatsuki organization who uses other people's eyes, that minute is fatal. Unless he resurrected ordinary people. But for Nara Shirju, who has the same quality eyes as Sage of Six Paths, it's really not a difficult task. Even if the person he wants to resurrect is Kakuzu, a cage-level powerhouse, it would be an extremely easy task. That's Rinnegan. Because of Namikaze Minato's actions just now, most people's eyes on the battlefield were focused on him. Now Nara Luju showed Rinnegan, Tiandao Pain exclaimed immediately. How is this possible? Black Zetsu's eyes widened. Advertisement. He is a great director who dominates the plot of Hokage. How come even he, the director, doesn't know that Nara Luju opened Rinnegan? Who added drama to Nara Shikaku? How did he know that the Nara family has the potential to unlock the Rinnegan? Who exactly? Also, where did Namikaze Minato's eternal Mangekyo come from? For Black Zetsu who has survived for countless years, if a blood successor of the level of eternal Mangekyo is born in the ninja world, he will definitely know. But now, whether it's Namikaze Minato's eternal Mangekyo, or Nara Shikuku's Rinnegan, he hasn't received any news beforehand. Damn it, it must be Tianrin. What did he do? Why can the blood successors prescribed by the people of Konoha be perverted one by one? How crazy. These bastards, why don't you act according to my script? Instead, one by one, they added drama to themselves. Seeing the actors in the script add their own scenes one by one, Black Zetsu is also like Namikaze Minato, a little crazy and out of control. 0. However, after all, he is an old monster who has lived for thousands of years. No matter how out of control, there is no loss of 3.4 to the point of rationality. Not good. Akatsuki and the Ninja Alliance alone can't beat Konoha. Things have gotten completely out of hand. Uchiha Madara has to be played early. Otherwise, the mother will have no chance of being resurrected. Thinking of this, Black Zetsu immediately lurked on the ground quietly, and then swam quietly towards where Nagato was. Apparently, Namikaze Minato, Nara Shirju and their performance made the chief director of Black Zetsu uneasy. He felt that he could hardly hold the director's microphone. In order to continue to grasp the identity and authority of the director, he can only let a gold medal green leaf who acts under his orders appear on the stage ahead of time. Advertisement. Chapter 333 I will do my best and promise not to let you down. Advertisement. No matter what secret activities director Black Zetsu plans to carry out in order to regain his own director microphone. On the other hand, after Nara Shirju sacrificed Rinne Tensai Technique, Kakuzu, who was beaten to the head by Namikaze Minato, finally resurrected smoothly. Wasn't I beaten to death? After the body tissues below the head came back, Kakuzu just regained consciousness. Before he figured out what happened to him, Namikaze Minato's expectant face came into his eyes again. You are. Yellow flash. Seeing Minato's smiling face, the newly revived Kakuzu was almost scared to death on the spot again. No way. The scene of being accidentally beaten to death by Namikaze Minato just now came back to his mind. The B*********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** Flash is. Isn't it said that he is a well-known good guy in the ninja world? Accidentally beating Laozi to death is not enough, but after beating Laozi to death, Laozi wants to continue doing this to me at 30. Thinking of this, Kakuzu suddenly felt terrified. Kakuzu, I think you should have a rough idea. I told Lu Ju to bring you back to life. Namikaze Minato looked at Kakuzu with a smile. What do you want to do? Kakuzu looked defensively at Namikaze Minato, Narushirju and Hitaki Sakumo in front of him. When he saw these three people, one with eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, one with Rinnegan, and one with Tensagan that he didn't know, he felt that the endless darkness almost swallowed his heart, future and life. What sin did you do? To be able to meet eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, Rinnegan and Tensagan at the same time in the small ninja world. Such treatment. Don't say God of Ninja, what Uchiha Madara. Even Sage of Six Paths doesn't have that kind of treatment, does it? But, I really don't want such treatment. Advertisement. It's too exciting. I'm just a little Kakuzu, how can he match this lineup to deal with me? I didn't want to do anything. Just want you to deliver on your promise. Complete the promise you made before you died. Namikaze Minato didn't attack him as Kakuzu expected, instead he acted persuasively. Promise. Which one are you talking about? Kakuzu is dumbfounded. At this time, the mind cannot function normally. Who knows what promise Namikaze Minato is thinking about? It's your promise that if I accidentally beat you to death, you're willing to call me a ninja beyond first Hokage. I accidentally beat you to death just now. In order for you to finish the unfinished business, I also specially asked Luju to revive you. Now you should be able to speak, right? I'm ready. Namikaze Minato looked at Kakuzu expectantly. Beyond the reputation of first Hokage. He was so excited that he couldn't sleep at the thought that he was about to get it. Damn it, how boring are you? Just to make me shout this sentence, after you beat me to death, you even specially found a person with Rinnegan to resurrect me. Kakuzu is sluggish. He thought of many reasons. Had a lot of dark thoughts. But I never expected that Namikaze Minato took so much trouble to invite Naruto to resurrect himself for such a reason. Advertisement. This is how free and boring people are to have such ideas. Is a word from Laozi really that easy for you? Aren't you satisfied with my careless slap just now? It's okay. I can do it again. I will do my best this time, and I promise not to disappoint you. Namikaze Minato saw Kakuzu's defecation, and thought he felt that he was not as good as first Hokage, so he became anxious. You must go all out and promise not to let me down. Kakuzu's face suddenly turned pale. Isn't this about being beaten to death again? It's hard to come back alive. Kakuzu has figured it out. It turns out that life is more important than money. At this time, he didn't want to know what he didn't know, money or not, and he didn't want to care about it. After living again, he just wants to continue living. Look, the pupil technique of my left and right eyes is still useless. And the Rasengan used by Susanoo just now is only 383 normal form. On this basis, further morphological changes and nature transformation can be carried out. Namikaze Minato was afraid that Kakuzu would not believe that he had the strength to surpass first Hokage. While speaking, he displayed the full body Susanoo again. Immediately afterwards, he controlled Susanoo to spread out his right hand, condensing a mountain-sized Rasengan. After that, he still felt that it was not enough and satisfied. On the basis of Rasengan, again such as chakra. In an instant, Rasengan, which was already as huge as a mountain, had swelled to the extent that it was as huge as half of a full body Susanoo's body. Look, this is a further form change. Besides, I can access nature transformation. Without waiting for Kakuzu to speak, Namikaze Minato injected wind-style chakra again on this basis. In a blink of an eye, this huge Rasengan, half as big as Susanoo's full body, swelled again, and there were 4 more rapidly rotating wind-style blades, which looked like a super-large Fuma Shuriken same. Advertisement. Chapter 334I, Kakuzu, would like to call you a ninja beyond the first generation. Advertisement. Partner news. Are you really going to do this? How can I, Kakuzu, be worthy of your ninjutsu to kill me? Looking at the wind-style spiral shuriken, which was comparable in size to a tailed beast, Kakuzu's complexion was beyond pale. At this moment, he was already pale. Namikaze Minato's blow made his heart explode. It's not over yet. I can still perform magic tricks. With that said, Namikaze Minato, based on this foundation, once again used Senju Chakra, and the volume of the spiral shuriken expanded again. At this time, the size of this Sage Art Wind-style super-large spiral shuriken condensed by the perfect Susanoo is already comparable to the perfect Susanoo. People around looked at it, it was like looking at a god. The Ninja Allied Army and the White Zetsu Army were almost terrified. Such power. It's not something ordinary ninjas like them can compete with. Damn it, I just said how Namikaze Minato took so much trouble to revive the person from the Akatsuki organization. So he wanted to take this opportunity to show off his muscles. Onogi saw his ninja's morale drop to the bottom, his face changed again and again. He knew that if Namikaze Minato was allowed to continue, there would be no need to fight this war. They're done right here. We must find a way to destroy Namikaze Minato's full body, Susanoo. Luo Hao looked at Onoki and Tiandao Pain. In his opinion, to destroy such a behemoth, he must use Dustun and Rinnegan of Heaven Pain. Only the strength of 2 people can destroy the perfect Susanoo. No one else can do it, including himself. Namikaze Minato will Flying Thunder God technique. You can even cast Flying Thunder God with Susanoo. You have to seize the opportunity. Tiandao Pain said in a deep voice. Advertisement. What type of opponent is the toughest? Of course it is an opponent who masters time and space ninjutsu. Not only is it difficult to deal with, but you can retreat at any time if you can't beat it, look for an opportunity to give you another knife. Why is Obito's Mangekyo Sharingan called the strongest Mangekyo? Isn't it because of Obito's Mangekyo Sharingan pupil technique? Kamui is the pupil technique of time and space. If he can, he really doesn't want to fight with someone who controls space-time ninjutsu. Onoki nodded with an ugly face. Flying Thunder God technique is tough, he already knew it. Whether it was Luo Hao or Namikaze Minato back then, these two ninjas who mastered the Flying Thunder God technique brought back countless nightmarish memories to Iwagakure. When Onoki and others were plotting how to get rid of Namikaze Minato, Kakuzu had almost collapsed. Because Namikaze Minato is still not satisfied with carrying such ninjutsu. I have used shape change, nature transformation, and fairy art. If you are still not satisfied, then I can inject Sharingan's pupil technique on top of this. Namikaze Minato stared at Kakuzu, who had been silent. At this moment, he couldn't help but think that he had come up with so much material. Why is Kakuzu still unwilling to speak? Is first Hokage really that strong? I don't even expect to surpass Luo Hao, I only hope to surpass first generation. Is it all that difficult? Pupil injection. Kakuzu is sluggish. How can I not want to speak? I was obviously too scared to speak. Enough, stop injecting. If you inject it into the ninja world, you will toss it away. Seeing that Namikaze Minato is going to inject pupil surgery on this basis, Kakuzu's mouth immediately broke away from the control of the brain and said involuntarily. Then what do you mean? Seeing that Kakuzu finally spoke, Namikaze Minato asked a little nervously. Advertisement. What else could it mean? Don't you just want a word from me? Exclamation mark. I just ask you one thing, stop making trouble. When Kakuzu said this, he couldn't help sighing. I am really old. Can't keep up with the ideas of young people. I Kakuzu would like to call you Namikaze Minato a ninja beyond first Hokage. Is that all right? After Kakuzu sighed, he said in a serious voice. You sure? Namikaze Minato asked. I'm sure. Kakuzu nodded. You didn't lie. Namikaze Minato asked again. I'm not lying. Kakuzu almost collapsed. Say no. It's okay not to say. What do you still think about me? Thanks. Namikaze Shui, Li Hao saw that Kakuzu didn't seem to be lying, and finally showed a relieved smile on his face. Call. It wasn't just Namikaze Minato who was relieved, Kakuzu was too. Seeing that Namikaze Minato was finally satisfied, he was finally willing to let himself go, and after putting away the Sage Art Susanoo Wind-style super large spiral shuriken that scared his soul almost out of his body, his dangling my heart was finally relieved. Puff. But when he showed a relieved smile, Tongdu's smile froze. Because after Namikaze Minato heard what he wanted to hear the most, he controlled Susanoo to pull out a chakra-long knife without hesitation, and then without giving him an argument, he mercilessly chopped off the chance to beg for mercy. Advertisement. Chapter 335. Aren't you going to show off? Advertisement. You killed him. Naradir has been sluggish for a long time. Just now, he was on the verge of death, as if he would not give up until Kakuzu was revived. How could he be killed in the blink of an eye? Even if Kakuzu speaks, it is useless, you don't have to be so decisive. Don't kill him, and leave him to ravage the battlefield, hurting other Konoha shinobi. Don't you think I'm going to let him go? Namikaze Minato didn't think there was anything wrong. Instead, he said in a natural tone. No, you did very well. Hitaki Tsukumo is a little dumbfounded, but also a little bit amused. This Minato is really real. Typical no monks after fasting. Kakuzu just opened his mouth to admit that you are a ninja beyond first Hokage, but you just chopped him up cleanly. Even if you want to chop it, you should at least say thank you to others. How to say Kakuzu is dead and resurrected, I came back to tell you this 307. Just do it right. Namikaze Minato is quite satisfied with the results of this battle. At least he wasn't like Hitaki Tsukumo who accidentally stabbed Kisame to death with a paring knife. He killed Kakuzu at least twice. And in the process of these 2 times, he did not show off much. Didn't you see that the allied ninja army and the White Zetsu army were all frightened by him alone? Being able to show off this kind of operation and pretend to be so aggressive while only killing Kakuzu alone is already very satisfying for him, Sho King. At the same time, he also won the reputation of surpassing first Hokage. Advertisement. Whether it's the face or the inside, it's all in hand. That leaves Namikaze Minato contented to exit with Hitaki Tsukumo. After all, it was said before the war started, all the high-end powerhouses in Konoha can only show off one high-end combat power to the enemy. In a situation where there are too many monks and too few porridge, Konoha's high-end combat power can only be assigned to one opponent, and there must be no more. Didn't you see that Luo Hao, the boss, can only stand quietly and watch his subordinates pretend at this moment in order to let his subordinates show off? Namikaze is already satisfied to show off before Luo Hao. Aren't you going to show off? Seeing Namikaze Minato and Hitaki Tsukumo exit at the same time, Tsunade's eyes fell on Luo Hao. Do you think if I appear on the stage now, you still have to show off? This ninja war is the last time. If you don't pretend now, you won't have a chance to pretend later. After you all finish the show, I'll come out and make a final decision. Luo Hao waved his hand with a rather magnanimous look. It is unprecedented for him, the king of 10,000 realms, to be so magnanimous, to let his subordinates pretend instead of pretending to take advantage of the great opportunity. If Aizen Sosuke knew about it, he probably wouldn't be able to bear it, and would not hesitate to bend his waist to become Luo Hao's subordinate for a pretender. After all, there is Luo Hao, the administrator, chatting in the skirt for a day, and all the skirt friends feel that they are hard to find. This pretended opportunity really doesn't come at any time. At least if the members in the chat skirt know about it, they will definitely drool with envy. The Fourth Ninja War. This is the most magnificent battlefield. It's also the best stage to dance on. Once you miss it, you will regret it for life. A final word. The outcome of this war has been a foregone conclusion from the very beginning. Advertisement. If you let Minato and the others show off, the opponent's high-end combat power will definitely be wiped out. At that time, you still have a chance to make a final decision. Tsunade glanced at Luo Hao in surprise. How can I say that Luo Hao is the only old driver who controls her? She is naturally very clear about her family's thoughts and habits. Now Luo Hao's behavior makes her a little unpredictable. Why not? Luo Hao asked with a chuckle. Could it be that there are still variables in the Fourth World War? After Tsunade was slightly startled, he immediately reacted. This is the only way to explain why Luo Hao said the final word. Only when the Fourth Ninja World War is not as simple as it appears on the surface, and there is an undercurrent surging in the dark, Luo Hao has a chance to make a final decision. Good. Luo Hao glanced at the direction of Tiandao Pain. Director Black Zetsu thinks his actions are very secretive and unknown at all. But he didn't expect that his actions would be seen by him from the very beginning. It's just that he didn't want to spoil the meaning of the great director of Black Zetsu. On the contrary, I really want to see how the director Black Zetsu will save the scene when the plot is so violent. Anyone with a discerning eye can see that any one of Namikaze Minato, Hitaki Tsukumo, Naruto and others can sweep the Ninja Alliance and Akatsuki. He doesn't believe that the great director of Black Zetsu, who has lived for thousands of years, can't see it. At this time, if he resorts to another ultimate move, there will be no chance to save the plot of the rampage. He worked so hard to plan the script. Black Zetsu saves his mother, and even acted it to such a critical moment, he didn't believe that Black Zetsu would just give up. Who? Is it Pain? Tsunade glanced at Tiandao Pain, suspicion flashed in his eyes. Others can't see the reality of Pain, but she can tell at a glance that Pain in front of her is just a corpse. Advertisement. Chapter 336 My Rinnegan is probably fake. Advertisement. Although the so-called Tiandao Pain is quite strong, if he gathers 6 paths Pain, he will be beaten by 6 without knowing Rinnegan's ability, and the general Cage level strong will definitely die. But for Tsunade who has mastered Ryujin Jaka, he doesn't need Bankai or other abilities of Shinigami, just directly Shikai, and all 6 paths Pain has to go to see his grandfather. Pain with only this strength should not be enough to become a variable. Not him, but it also has a little relationship with him. You will understand after reading it. Wait, maybe you will meet old acquaintances. Luo Hao made a fool of himself and didn't say anything about the director of Black Zetsu. Mysterious. Tsunade gave Luo Hao a blank look, but she was really curious in her heart. She really wanted to see who the old acquaintance was. Luo Sha, come out and die. Just when Tsunade was wondering what Luo Hao said about the variables, Aunt Snake, who was disturbed about her pregnancy, finally lost her temper completely. She gave a low drink in vain. The sound was so loud that it swept the entire battlefield. Luo Sha, who was planning how to kill Namikaze Minato, was so shocked that his head was buzzing. Orochimaru. In a trance, Luo Sha Fangfo saw a shocking giant python entrenched in front of him, looking down at him condescendingly. But when he followed the voice and turned his head to look, he couldn't help but reach out and wipe his eyes vigorously. Are you really Orochimaru? Luo Sha was completely dumbfounded. Orochimaru's transformation into Ant Snake was as shocking as Namikaze Minato's Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, Hitaki Tsukumo's Tenseigan and Nara's Rinnegan. Do you have any opinion? Advertisement. Orochimaru saw Luo Sha's eyes full of strange colors, and a pair of snake pupils suddenly turned into a 3-god jade Rinnegan. Damn it! What kind of eyes are these? How can there be the 3-hook jade of Sharingan, and the ring circle of Rinnegan? Being swept away by these eyes, Luo Sha immediately shuddered, feeling cold all over his body. At this moment, he felt what Kakuzu felt. Are the people in Konoha crazy? Why are they all switched off? The 4th battle has just begun. Why have all the old opponents of the past become so strange? The Eternal Fountain, Tenseigan, and the blood in the car show up one after another. Why is Orochimaru, now a woman, running over with a pair of 3-god jade Rinnegan? Could it be that turning into a woman can trigger the limit of such legendary blood successors? If you really get such treatment as a woman. Frankly speaking, Luo Sha is moved. Sengoyu Rinnegan, find out. After all, you are about to die under these eyes. Aunt Snake, who was in a bad mood, had no intention of showing off at all. She just wanted to vent her inner irritability. However, considering that Namikaze Minato and the others are all playing full-body Susanoo, this Susanoo is about to be overwhelmed by their own high-level combat power. He also lost the idea of chopping Luo Sha to death with Susanoo. Everyone plays Susanoo, so I'll play something new and exciting. While thinking about it, before Luo Sha calmed down the shock in her heart, Aunt Snake opened her right hand. Plus, advertisement. Perhaps it was because the shock that Sengoyu Rinnegan brought to Luo Sha was too strong. As soon as Aunt Snake spread out her head, Luo Sha summoned a large piece of gold dust to protect herself tightly. 0 for flowers. Planetary devastation. Aunt Snake looked at the tense Luo Sha, and the corners of her mouth curled up slightly. The moment her icy voice sounded, jet black spheres formed from her palm, and then flew into the air. The terrifying gravitational force erupted instantly. Numerous white Zetsu and the ninjas of the coalition army rose up uncontrollably, were pulled to the sky by gravity, and then crushed into blood foam by countless gravels. Planetary devastation. Faced with Ant Snake's move, the most shocking one was not Luo Hao, but Conan and Tiandao Pain. Pen, can you do it? Conan suddenly looked at Tiandao Pain. I can't do it. Tiandao Pain was ashamed. My Rinnegan is probably fake. Not to mention asking him to use the planetary devastation like Orochimaru to create so many star-like meteorites in a snap of his fingers, even if he only made one, he would have to play with it to know it. Moreover, the meteorites made by desperate efforts are not as good as any one of the meteorites made by Ant Snake, no matter in size or scale. Why are they both Rinnegans, and Nagato worked so hard compared to Naruto and Orochimaru when they were able to cast pupils? The more cautious Conan was a little suspicious. She always felt that something was wrong. There was no reference before, and she didn't feel anything wrong. But now seeing that no matter it is Naruto or Ant Snake, using Rinnegan's pupil technique is as simple as eating and drinking water, which is completely different from Nagato's need to risk his life to play with Rinnegan, but she feels a bit inappropriate. As soon as this kind of inappropriateness appeared, it took root in her heart like a gangrene, making her very uncomfortable. Advertisement. Chapter 337 Go All the Way, Cage Luasha. Advertisement. How to block it. Looking at the huge moon-like meteorites entrenched in the sky, Luo Hao was stunned on the spot. What a power it is. Terumi Mei was shocked beyond measure. That B********* D Orochimaru, does he have the power of a god? Onoki's face was ugly as hell. Now that the war has progressed, his heart has completely sunk to the bottom, and he has no hope for victory. No way. His will of stone was already chopped into pieces by Luo Hao. Now that he has witnessed the power of Namikaze Minato and Hitaki Sakuma one after another, and found that each of these people is more terrifying than the other, and the blood successor of 677 has a bigger background, it's no wonder his mentality didn't explode. Tsuchikage, Mizukage, come and help me. The dirty soil Madara just made 1 or 2 meteorites to scare the ninja alliance into stupidity. Now Orochimaru has produced a total of 10 meteorites. Each meteorite is bigger than Tengai Shinsei of Uchiha Madara. Faced with such power, Luo Hao resolutely gave up. He didn't want to follow in the footsteps of those members of Shao's organization. I can't help it. Facing Luo Shao's call for help, Terumi Mei gave him a cool answer. Feng, please forgive me for not being able to help you. Onoki shook his head. When Luo Hao was so angry that he was about to yell, out of the corner of his eye, he noticed that Onoki and Terumi Mei were standing in front of each other. Advertisement. One of the Sannin. Tsunade. Disciple of 4th Hokage, Konoha Blue Beast, Might Guy. Obviously, it's not that they don't want to help themselves, but that they don't have to help. How can I stop it alone? Knowing that Luo Hao, who can only rely on himself at this time, can only bite the bullet and control countless gold dust soaring into the sky, forming huge hands of gold dust, trying in vain to support the meteorites falling from the sky. Go all the way, Feng Luasha. Seeing Luo Shao's actions, Ant Snake immediately smiled. Where did Luo Hao get the confidence and courage to hold up his 10 planetary devastations with gold dust? Did he really think he was the sage of 6 paths? Bang! Almost at the moment when Ant Snake showed a contemptuous smile, loud noises swept across the battlefield one after another suddenly exploded. Both the enemy and the ninja who were fighting can't help turning their attention to the source of the sound. Under the gaze of many horrified eyes, Luo Shao's 10-placer gold hands were like a house hit by a meteorite, and they all collapsed in an instant. Immediately afterwards, a meteorite bombarded Luo Shao's area instantly with a terrifying impact force. Bang! The terrifying shock wave, mixed with soaring dust, swept across the entire battlefield in an instant, submerging countless ninjas in the dust. Rosa. Onoki flew into the air, looked towards the location where the meteorite hit the ground, and immediately saw a shocking scene. The area with a radius of more than 10 kilometers has been hit by 10 meteorites, which is as uneven as the surface of the moon. 10 pieces of chaos. The Ninja Alliance army and the White Zetsu army suffered countless casualties in an instant. On the contrary, Konoha Shinobi is guarded by Namikaze Minato, Uchiha Shisui and a large number of strong players above cage level. Even if Orochimaru dropped 10 meteorites, not a single Konoha Shinobi was injured or injured. Died. Advertisement. Terumi Mei stepped on a hill that was forcibly smashed out by a meteorite, and felt her hands and feet were icy cold. The gap is too big. The so-called Three Shadows. The so-called Akatsuki organization. The so-called Ninja Alliance. The so-called White Zetsu army. All of these combined are still vulnerable to Konohagakure. Luo Shao's strength is definitely high-end combat power in the Ninja Alliance. But this kind of Feng was caught by Ant Snake before he even had a chance to show his strength. And by the way, he took away many coalition ninjas and buried him with him. I feel much more comfortable. After a wave of planetary devastation took Luo Hao away, Ant Snake felt that the depression in her heart had finally dissipated. Ever since Onoki and the others created the Ghetto statue and sent the tailed beast bomb to Konohagakure to disturb his pregnancy, he has been holding back his breath. 0. Now, the breath dissipates. As a pregnant woman, Ant Snake only felt refreshed, but at the same time she had no intention of killing. At this time, he is no longer interested in the Fourth Ninja World War. No way, even Onoki and others could see the gap between the two sides. As the teacher of 4th Hokage, He certainly knew that this so-called 4 battle was actually betting 2.0 from the very beginning to determine success or failure, deciding the outcome. For Konohagakure, the 4th battle is just a stage for Namikaze Minato and others to pretend, and a venue for Konoha shinobi to strive for merit. As for the blood, cruelty, and casualties of the ninja war, these have nothing to do with Konoha. The so-called bloody, cruel, desperate, tragic. These shocking words are all used to face each other, that is, the Ninja Coalition Army and the White Zetsu Army at this time. You still refuse to surrender. Onoki, do you think you still have the capital to compete with us Konoha? Tsunade, with a zanpakuto hanging from his waist, stared coldly at Onoki. Advertisement. Chapter 338 Nothing can't be solved with one punch, if there is, just 2 punches. Advertisement. Surrender. What a joke. Do you want us to surrender and be killed by you Konoha like Cloud Shinobi did? Onoki growled coldly. In fact, not only he can see the gap between the two sides, but many people in the Ninja Alliance can see it. But no one has surrendered until now, not because the will of the coalition forces is really that simple, nor is it because Onoki really wants to fight to the end. But everyone has no choice. The lessons learned from Cloud Shinobi Village made all the ninjas in the coalition army afraid to surrender. After all, in the Cloud Shinobi village of Nuoda, there are almost no survivors, whether they are ninjas or civilians. One of the 5 great ninja villages in the past was completely slaughtered and became a dead village. Such a shocking tragedy made Ono Sanshiki and the others have no choice but to rise up and resist. It's as if you don't have to be killed if you resist to the end. Tsunade frowned slightly. Let's be honest. If she doesn't know about the fruit of the sacred tree, she doesn't approve of slaughtering Cloud Shinobi village. But after knowing about the fruit of the sacred tree, she only agrees with Luo Hao's approach, and has no objection. After all, without the appearance of the fruit of the sacred tree, how could there be Konoha, which is now as strong as Ultimate? Anyway, these killings and casualties are not our own ninjas, but the enemy. She doesn't care how many people die. Tsunade, who has not experienced the torture of blood phobia, is the strongest female ninja who has come out of blood and fire. How could she have compassion for Cloud Shinobi who had a bad relationship with the Konohagakure era? After all, the death of her second grandfather was also thanks to Cloud Shinobi village. As for the other 3 ninja villages, Rock Shinobi, Mist Shinobi and Sand Shinobi, although they did not participate in the killing of second Hokage, they usually have a continuous hatred with Konoha. Advertisement. Dead friend, perfect yourself. Of course Tsunade doesn't mind this kind of thing. Your so-called resistance is nothing more than adding more pain before death comes. Tsunade was not at all moved by Onagi's words. If you don't try it, how will you know that the result is destined? Onoki Fangfu was aroused by Tsunade's contempt and indifference to his broken stone will. At the moment, he stopped looking for Luo Shao's body, and rushed directly towards Tsunade. Earth-style rock fist technique. I saw his right hand, the whole arm turned into a rock arm, and then he punched Tsunade. Aren't you getting old and confused? Onoki, how dare you throw a fist at me? Seeing Onogi's actions, Tsunade immediately laughed. Inside Konoha, there are 2 sentences floating around. Can't play against King Guy. Can't fight with Tsunade. Even his own disciple, Luo Hao, put so much effort into cultivating him. Tsunade, as the wife he married back home, is also his favorite performance supercar, so naturally he can't just smash everything. On the contrary, the heart that Hao put on Gangpai is more than Might Guy. Even if he didn't get Ryujin Jaka, even before Luo Hao got the Wanjie chat skirt, Tsunade's strength has already been cultivated by him to the point of surpassing Cage level. Properly the head of Sanin. Exactly so. Such a saying only spreads inside Konohagakure. Better die than fight Tsunade. Because anyone who fights against Tsunade will not only die, but also feel the pain of hellish despair before death. Advertisement. Earth-style super-weighted rock technique. How fierce Tsunade's fist is, Onoki has heard a little bit about it. Although he died early, he was chopped to death by Luo Hao holding a watermelon knife not long after the beginning of the 3rd battle. But Tsunade's fists were already famous during World War II, and it was only after meeting Luo Hao that they reached a terrifying level in the main battle. But he dared to fight Tsunade, of course he has the confidence. These 2 strokes of earth style are his confidence. I see. Seeing Onoki swinging his rocky fist like a hill, a flash of understanding flashed in Tsunade's eyes. If these 2 earth style moves are combined, they are indeed qualified to fight her. But this she refers to her during World War II, not during World War III, let alone her now. Bang. When Onagi's fist was about to hit 323, Tsunade made a move. I saw her green onion-like white jade fingers clenched into fists, and then punched out violently. It was obviously just a flawless white jade fist, but after the punch was thrown, Onagi's pupils suddenly shrank to ultimate. Before he started punching, he found that everything in his sight had disappeared, replaced by a fist. His eyes were completely occupied by Tsunade's fist. Boom. Just as Onogi lost his mind for a moment, the rock fist and Tsunade's fist collided together. There was a loud noise comparable to that of a planetary devastation hitting the ground, and then Onoki's rock arm, along with his entire arm, exploded into powder on the spot. What? Onoki screamed, his body floated down from the sky like a kite with broken strings, and then hit the ground hard. Nothing can't be solved with one punch, if there is, it's 2 punches. Do you understand now, Onoki? Tsunade shook his head contemptuously. Advertisement. Chapter 339 Please die again, Onoki. Advertisement. Your fist. how can it be so powerful? Although Onoki who fell to the ground lost an arm and was severely injured, he is indeed worthy of being the Tsuchikage who inherited the will of the stone, and his vitality is indeed complete. Still alive and kicking. People grow up. Your perception of my strength is still in World War II. You didn't think I'd been standing still all the time you died, did you? Tsunade looked at Onoki with a half smile. Damn it. I actually forgot about this. Namikaze Minato, Orochimaru, Nara Shirju, all of them have become so weird and scary. There is no way that Tsunade has not changed at all. Onoki thought to himself, after all, he still underestimated the enemy and rushed forward. Use whatever means you can. Don't say I don't respect the old and love the young. Before my husband hacked you to death with a watermelon knife, he made you use all means. Since he has done this, I don't mind letting you dance to your heart's content before you die. Tsunade said lightly. Stop looking down on people. Princess Tsunade. Do you think you can't bear it? Onoki said angrily. Tsunade's words reminded him of the battle before he was hacked to death by Luo Hao in World War III. Same as the third Raikage who died in shame and humiliation. His Tsuchikage also died extremely tragically and powerlessly. He obviously led tens of thousands of rock shinobi to besiege Luo Hao alone, but Luo Hao turned around and chased him and tens of thousands of rock shinobi to hack him. His earth style, his dust escape, and his 10,000 subordinates are just like decorations. It is useless in front of Luo Hao. In the end, Luo Hao held a watermelon knife abruptly, cut a bloody path, and rushed in front of him, almost knocking his sky cap off. Advertisement. Now Tsunade's words brought back this nightmare memory. Of course I can't bear it. But I'm Tianren's wife. What method did he use to beat you to death, then what method will I use? Tsunade said as a matter of course. Okay. At the beginning, your husband, Tianren, charged directly at my dust escape and chopped my dust escape into pieces. Try smashing my dust cave with your fist. Onoki roared angrily. Chi to chi, he obviously has not lost his mind. Overturned, the anger on his surface is probably just a disguise, and he wants to use it to bully Tsunade. Okay. Tsunade's mouth curled into a sneer. After all, she is also a person who has participated in 2 ninja world wars. The conspiracies and tricks experienced are too numerous to count. How could she fail to see Onoki's aggressive tactics? But it doesn't matter. From the very beginning, she had no intention of hiding from Onoki's dust escape. Back then, Luo Hao was tough as Chen Dun. He chopped Chen Dun into pieces with one knife, and then chopped Onoki. Then today she will be tough on Chen Dun, crush Chen Dun with one punch, and kill Onoki on the spot. Dust escape boundary stripping technique. Onoki saw that Tsunade was really not dodging, he was overjoyed, and at the same time raised his hand, he just shot away. Dust escape. Something without any meaning. Please die again, Ino. Seeing the sweeping translucent cuboid, Tsunade not only showed no fear on his face, but said to Onoki calmly. Then, she punched. Just like the fist that smashed the arm of the rock just now, it doesn't look like the slightest bit of fireworks. But when her fist blasted out, Onagi's face changed. Advertisement. A flood of beast-like breath swept through the body and mind, almost freezing Onoki's thinking. Seeing Tsunade's punch to Chen Dun, he was stunned. Can't find any words to describe it at all. All he knew was that after Tsunade punched out, his proud dust escape was exactly the same as when he faced Tianren Luo Hao in the third battle. After a click, the dust escape he used with all his strength was like a shattered glass bottle, smashed to pieces by Tsunade's punch. Dust done. Can it be shattered? It was the first time for Rock Shinobi to witness this scene, all of them turned pale with shock. And some Rock Shinobi who survived World War III recalled the nightmare scenes. Exactly the same. Same thing as that man in WW3 did. The only difference is that one uses the fist and the other uses the west. The end result makes no difference. Dust escape. The elimination of blood successors that surpassed the limit of blood successors was shattered. No bells and whistles, just getting smashed by a good punch from Tsunade in a head-on bang. Goodbye, Anoden. I think no one can save you this time. After Tsunade smashed Chenden with a punch, he came to Onogi in a flash. Under the desperate efforts of countless rock shinobi, Onoki's body was snatched back. Finally, there is the resurrection of Onogi now. But this time, he obviously didn't have such luck. Even if there is, Tsunade will have the luck to wipe out Onoki. Puff. No skin. Onoki looked at Tsunade who was close at hand, and only came to shout in horror. Tsunade's fist had already hit him. One punch down. He instantly exploded into blood mist. Third Tsuchikage, Onoki was shot dead again. Advertisement. Chapter 340 If I step down, you will die. Advertisement. Another one died. When Onogi was punched by Tsunade into blood mist and scattered on the battlefield, Nara Shirju silently took out a notebook and wrote Onagi's name. If anyone sees his notebook, they will definitely find that every member of Senkage and Akatsuki is recorded on it. It's just that most of the names have now been crossed out. 3 shadows lost 2 of them, leaving only Mizukage Terumi Mei who got through Luo Hao's back door. Only the Red Sand Scorpion, Tiandao Pain, Konan, and Kakashi are staring at each other, and Uchiha Obito, who seems to have a short life, is left in the Akatsuki organization. Who will take care of the rest? Nara Shikajiu glanced at the Ninja Coalition army whose morale had fallen to the bottom on the battlefield, and then glanced at the White Zetsu army who was still struggling. Mizukage, you think it through. If I step down, you will die. Might Guy saw that everyone else was ending the fight one after another, so he deliberately raised his right foot in front of Terumi Mei. I surrender. Terumi Mei took a deep look at 683, a Might Guy. She is not stupid. When she was Might Guy, she had seen it just now. Several of the 10 meteorites dropped by Ant Snake affected Konoha Shinobi. And one of them was broken by Might Guy's kick. A meteorite larger in size than Uchiha Madara's Tengai Shinsei was kicked into pieces by King Guy on the spot. What a brutal kick. Look at Kazekage and Tsuchikage, who are also Sankage, who received their lunch boxes early, and their deaths were extremely tragic, but I am the only one who has not only survived until now, but has also been active on the battlefield unscathed. Advertisement. Obviously thanks to the old driver Luo Hao. If it hadn't been for the fact that she had been dating that man all these years, to learn about her driving skills, she would probably be killed by a meteorite or beaten to death by now. Anyway, the ending will definitely not be much better than Tsuchikage and Kazekage. Damn it. When Tiandao Pain saw that Mizukage Terumi Mei had become the first shadow to surrender, he couldn't help scolding immediately. 2 of the 3 shadows died, and the ninja coalition suffered heavy casualties. All the ninjas themselves are on the verge of limit. Now Mizukage, the last of the 3 shadows, surrendered in a very lonely way, and became the last straw that crushed the coalition forces. Even though they knew that the end of surrender might be death, more and more coalition ninjas abandoned Kunai. What? Just when Tiandao Pain was burning with anxiety, there was another familiar scream not far away. He didn't need to turn his head. With Rinnegan's insight, he saw that the Red Sand Scorpion was wiped out by Uchiha Shisui with Susanoo's knife, and then beheaded on the spot. As of now, there are only 3 high-end combat forces left by the coalition and the Akatsuki organization. Pen, why don't we withdraw? Conan saw how bad the situation was, and knew that they couldn't win this war. Withdraw. Can we still withdraw now? You see, although Tien Ren has never made a move, his eyes have been staring at us all the time. Once we showed any intention of retreating, believe it or not, he immediately appeared by my side. Namikaze Minato's Flying Thunder God still needs the help of a wooden method to cast it, but it is said that as long as he opens the Flying Thunder God barrier, he can freely jump through space within the range of the barrier. And the enchantment range of this Flying Thunder God is said to be almost the same as his perception range. Advertisement. Although Tiandao Pain still had a paralyzed face, his tone was extremely bitter. In fact, from the moment the war started, his so-called god's pride, mentality, and dignity were blown away by Hitaki Tsukumo and the others. After witnessing Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, Rinnegan, Tenseigan, Sengoyu Rinnegan and a series of pervert successors, he knew that his so-called god was nothing more than that, that's all. Typical stuff for self-entertainment. Even Hitaki Tsukumo and others have such terrifying blood successors. It is not difficult to imagine how terrifying the power possessed by Mugen who can control Hitaki Tsukumo and their group of monsters. Hearing this, Conan subconsciously looked in the direction of Konoha Shinobi. This look collided with Tianren Luo Hao's eyes in midair. The collision of eyes did not spark the spark of love, but only sparked the spark of fear. She remembered someone. The man with the oxygen tube. Ninja demigod. Just such a powerful ninja. When facing Tenon, it is a matter of one blow. Even Nagato who got Rinnegan will never be able to do it when 6 paths pays all out. There are 3 left. After Naruto saw the death of the Red Sand Scorpion, he decisively scratched the name of the Red Sand Scorpion. As for the Ninja Alliance, he was too lazy to bother. They all dropped their weapons and sat on the battlefield with ashes on their faces. At this point, only those White Zetsu are left struggling. Looks like Kagai's army of White Zetsu wasn't completely useless. Compared with ninjas, at least these Japanese soldiers will not be afraid to fight because their opponents are strong. Luo Hao has a panoramic view of what the White Zetsu army has done. Advertisement. Chapter 341. The 4th battle is so boring. Advertisement. In terms of combat power, an army of 100,000 White Zetsu is absolutely no match for the Ninja Alliance. But when the Ninja Coalition collapsed across the board, the White Zetsu army was still fighting. This is something that the Ninja Alliance does not have. There are only Akatsuki's people left, and these White Zetsu army. Tsunade looked across the battlefield, a flash of light suddenly flashed in his eyes. However, she did not immediately implement her ideas into practical actions, but looked at Luo Hao. Do it. Catching Tsunade's gaze, Luo Hao nodded indifferently. The 4 battles are so boring. No way. The current Konohagakure is too pervert-ed by him. Not to mention that there are only 3 shadows in the Ninja Alliance, even if all the 5 shadows of the past are resurrected and join forces, it is not enough for the current Konoha Shinobi Kunsha. Since the survival of these guys will not affect the variables you mentioned, there is no need to keep them. Tsunade thought secretly. She was afraid that if she acted indiscriminately, it would affect the script in Luo Hao's mind. As a result, the original variables cannot appear. Now that Luo Hao is nodding, it doesn't matter. Now that the Ninja Coalition has collapsed, the noisy and boring 4th Ninja World War will come to an end directly, and it would be better to jump to the next stage. Are you going to do it? Seeing Tsunade's actions, Hitaki Tsukumo looked over immediately. As Tianren's wife, what kind of blood inheritance limit has he given you? Ant Snake stared at Tsunade with burning eyes. Even his teacher has been assigned a 3-point Jade Rinnegan. Advertisement. Then Tsunade's blood follower is definitely on the same level as his 3-god Jade Rinnegan again. Master, is she finally going to make a move? Might Guy's eyes lit up. Although just now Tsunade staged a shocking scene of beating Onoki to death with 2 punches, the power she used was definitely not the power given to her by Luo Hao. This made not only Might Guy, but also all the high-ranking Konohas who had been bestowed by Luo Hao very curious about what kind of power Tsunade got. The war has progressed to the present, even if it is Naruto who has not fought, everyone knows what his blood succession is. Only Tsunade, until now still maintains a high degree of mystery. Her blood inheritance Buddha was shrouded in a veil of mystery, which made Ban Sakumo and the other high-ranking officials feel full of interest. And now, Tsunade's action is undoubtedly sending a signal to everyone. The mystery surrounding her powers is about to be revealed. What kind of blood inheritance? Nara Shirju, Hitaki Sakumo, Namikaze Minato and others stared intently at Tsunade. Clang. Under the gaze of one after another, Tsunade moved. She slowly stretched out her right hand, grasped the handle of the knife at her waist, and then under the cover of a cold light, Zanpakuto unsheathed brazenly. So it's not blood successor, but Zanpakuto. Ant Snake, who has been studying Zanpakuto for a long time, reacted immediately. What Luo Hao bestowed on Tsunade is not the product of the chakra system, but the Shinigami system. For the product of the Shinigami system, he already knew something about it. That is an existence above the power system of the ninja world. Looking at the ninja world, except for those who have entered the 6 paths level, all ninjas below the 6 paths level are too weak compared to Shinigami. Luo Hao will give Tsunade Zanpakuto instead of the blood successor of the chakra system, and Ant Snake is not surprised at all. Just don't know what Zanpakuto is like. Thinking of this, Ant Snake looked brighter at Tsunade. Advertisement. 0 for flowers. Everything will turn to ashes. Ryujin Jaka. Sensing gazes from all directions, Tsunade knew his pretend moment had come. Next, it's her highlight moment. As the deep singing came out of her mouth, the temperature of the entire battlefield began to rise steadily. From the moment the words Ryujin Jaka sounded, the soaring flames as high as 6,000 degrees turned into waves of fire, covering the entire battlefield in Setsuna, forming a sea of flames that burned the earth. What kind of flame is this? Namikaze Minato's look changed drastically. What a high temperature. Hitaki Sakumo's pupils shrank. What fire style, what Amaterasu, they are really weak in front of Ryujin Jaka. Amaterasu's destructive power is good, but the problem is that the scope of damage is completely incomparable with Ryujin Jaka. Even if someone who has opened Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan casts Amaterasu, it is impossible to completely burn something as big as Susanoo-hei. But Ryujin Jaka can not only do it, but also can cover the entire battlefield of the 4th Ninja World War. What a terrifying destructive power this is. Untouchable. Uchiha Shisui looked at the sea of flames in front of him, and his pair of Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan was full of dignity. Seeing the appearance of this sea of flames, he felt extremely dangerous. Even a full-body Susanoo can't hold these flames. It's really a terrifying power. A trace of horror flashed in Naruto's eyes. As Konoha's general staff, he knows that many people don't know the secret. For example, Zanpakuto has Shikai and Bankai. Obviously, Tsunade's Ryujin Jaka is nothing but a Shikai. Advertisement. Chapter 342 Half set of Will of Fire conquers the world. Advertisement. The fire Tsunade started with Ryujin Jaka came fast, but it went fast too. Almost after the flames swept across the entire battlefield, in less than 3 seconds, the raging flames that turned the entire battlefield into a sea of flames quickly faded away like the ebbing sea water. But when all the flames dissipated, everyone except Luo Hao thought they were shocked by the scene before them. Even Konoha's high-end combat power, such as Ant Snake and Sakumo, who have been granted by Luo Hao to Shueiji, is no exception. Gone. 100,000 White Zetsu army wiped out in one fire. This, what a mighty power it is. When Tsunade put away Ryujin Jaka, the battlefield of the 4th Ninja World War left only a piece of scorched land under 167, and those coalition ninjas who had already given up struggling, dropped their weapons, and waited for death in despair. Besides, the White Zetsu army of nearly 100,000 has been burned to nothing. Nothing is left. If Ant Snake used the 10 meteorites produced by planetary devastation to let everyone see the power of God, then Tsunade's Ryujin Jaka will let everyone feel the power above God. Run. Pen, we'll run away immediately. One of the only 3 remaining members of the Akatsuki organization, Konan, after witnessing the power of Tsunade's Ryujin Jaka, her delicate pretty face was terrified on the spot. This is simply not a force that humans can contend with. What Rinnegan? What ghetto statue? It's child's play in front of Tsunade's Ryujin Jaka. Not worth mentioning at all. Can I still escape? Tiandao Pain can no longer maintain the best of God. At this moment, his face was full of hesitation. Ghetto statue. The tailed beast weapon he was looking for so hard failed to achieve his dream, and instead wiped out his years of hard work in this battle. Don't run away, we still have a chance. Advertisement. Just when Tiandao Pain and Konan were full of despair and helplessness for the future, a figure with bloody eyes and tears came to his side in vain. Still have a chance. What do you think can stand up to Princess Tsunade's sword? Why are you wrestling with Tien Ren? Konan grabbed Uchiha Obito's collar excitedly. Ghetto statue can evolve. Uchiha Obito ignored Konan, but looked at Tiandao Pain. Is what you said true? Hearing this, Tiandao Pain, who was originally ashen-faced, was like a drowning man grabbing the last straw, and a pair of dull Rinnegan stared at Uchiha Obito. Of course it is true. As Uchiha Obito said, he told Tiandao Pain how Gedo statue evolved into a sacred tree. In order to prevent Nagato from getting out of control, he has always been reserved. Just as Uchiha Madara had reservations about him, he also had reservations about Nagato. The purpose is to counter Nagato with Rinnegan at the critical moment. But now, 100,000 White Zetsu disappeared, the ninja coalition collapsed, 2 of the 3 shadows died, 1 surrendered, and the death of the Akatsuki organization left only 3 of them. Falling into such a situation, it is naturally impossible for Uchiha Obito to hold back. There is no turning back now. It's better to fight. Uchiha Obito looked at Tiandao Pain and kept bewitching him. At this moment, he is like a gambler at the table. On the gambling table, all the chips have been bet, and there is no way to withdraw. The same is true of him, and so is Tiandao Pain. Advertisement. Tiandao Pain's complexion changed for a while, and then he let out a long breath. He didn't speak, but made a seal suddenly. Roar. Gedo statue suddenly fell to his knees and roared to the sky. 0. With his body as the center, a shock wave swept in all directions. Sit on the ground and wait for the dead ninja coalition to be blown away in an instant. Still not giving up, a playful look appeared on Tsunade's face. She thought that after seeing Ryujin Jaka, the surviving Akatsuki organization would definitely explode mentally. I didn't expect to have the courage to fight. Here she has to give a thumbs up to Uchiha Obito's mouth escape ability. After all, he is a person who has received the education of the will of fire. Although he was abducted by Uchiha Madara in the middle of the accident, he is a Konoha rebellious ninja who has learned half of the will of fire. With this half set of will of fire, he is enough to conquer the world. The evolution of Gedo statue must be accelerated. Uchiha Obito had a look of anxiety in his eyes. Although I don't know why, Luo Hao hasn't made a move until now, instead he looks like he is watching the fun. But he didn't dare to bet whether Luo Hao would continue to watch him dance with his hands up. Thinking of this, he told Tiandao Pain the secret technique to accelerate Gedo statue's evolution without hesitation. As for whether to use it or not, he is not worried at all. Really, after getting the secret, Tiandao Pain didn't hesitate at all, he ignored Conan's persuasion, and directly used the loss of his own vitality as a catalyst to accelerate the evolution of the Gedo statue. In just a few moments, Gedo statue has entered the first stage of 10 tails, followed by a terrifying world upgraded. It's just that because of the lack of complete way, 8 tails and 9 tails, the world upgraded caused by Gedo statue is not as vast as the original time and space, and it is far inferior to the world upgraded caused by Luo Hao in Soul Society. Advertisement. Chapter 343. All Konoha shinobi stand up and pay tribute to Tenon. Advertisement. Gedo statue actually has such power. Originally, Conan was very dissatisfied that Uchiha Obito still used the will of fire to confuse Pain at this moment. It can be seen that Gedo statue evolved into 10 tails step by step, triggering the scene where the world was upgraded, and she began to regain a little confidence. It turns out that this is the true gesture of the Gedo statue. Tiandao Pain saw a big change in his image, with 1 ear and 1 eye, 10 tails like a monster, and a touch of heat burst out from his eyes. Such power. If it continues to evolve, maybe it can really compete with Luo Hao and the group of monsters. Not enough. Hurry up and catalyze the evolution of 10 tails. Uchiha Obito watched the terrible natural disasters such as tornadoes, Thunderbolt 30, and floods caused by Gedo statue's evolution. Although he was amazed at the power of 10 tails, he knew that this power was far from enough to wrestle with Luo Hao. It is good. Although Tiandao Pain knows that Uchiha Obito has bad intentions, there is nothing he can do. Only he has Rinnegan, and only he can perform this secret technique. If he doesn't do anything, he can only be wiped out by Konoha shinobi village like the dead White Zetsu army, and other members of the Akatsuki organization. Such a result was not what he wanted. Nagato. Conan's expression changed upon hearing this. She didn't even call him Pen, but Nagato. She has kept several paper clones beside Nagato's main body, and she knows the situation well. Forcibly catalyzing the evolution of 10 tails just now, Nagato is already vomiting blood. She doesn't know if 10 tails can evolve successfully if it happens a few more times, but she knows that Nagato will definitely die on the way of 10 tails evolution. Advertisement. Stop it, Conan. Only I can make the golem evolve, and only when the golem evolves can we have a chance to come back. God Pain interrupted Conan. The distant Nagato seals again. After a mouthful of blood, 10 tails changed again. Wrapped in the terrifying chakra, 10 tails has transformed from a skinny monster into a small tree with 4 giant bud-shaped muzzles. Finally something to watch. Since the start of the Fourth World War, Luo Hao, who has never made a move and acted as a melon-eating crowd throughout the whole process, giving up all the pretend opportunities to his subordinates, suddenly laughed. Are you going to do it? Tsunade immediately looked at Luo Hao. Not only her, but other Konoha executives, and even all Konoha shinobi followers have set their sights on 4th Hokage. During the 4 battles, all Konoha executives were showing off, only Luo Hao was watching. This makes all Konoha shinobi enthusiasts very curious. How fierce the fire became as the 4th generation. Even Hitaki Tsukumo and the others have mastered the power of gods, so there is no reason why Luo Hao will stand still. Hands-on is not enough. Not even a warm-up. At most, move your fingers and move your arms, so as not to stare for too long and make your neck stiff. Quote. Luo Hao chuckled, and then leapt over the crowd step by step under the watchful eyes of Tiandao Pain, Conan, and Uchiha Obito. Almost at the moment when he stepped out, all Konoha shinobi players, including Hitaki Tsukumo, Namikaze Minato, and the others all made the same move. Congratulations to Tianren. Advertisement. Everyone's eyes are on 4th Hokage who has the name of Tenon. He came. Originally, Uchiha Obito, who was still secretly happy seeing 10 tails evolve one after another, only felt that he was oppressed by mountain in his heart. The joy of 10 tails evolution was swept away in an instant. Is he finally going to do it? Tiandao Pain's face sank like water, and even 10 fingers trembled in shock. In front of other ninjas, he can also put on the vest of God. But when Luo Hao was in front of him, he really couldn't afford it, and he didn't dare to wear it. On the contrary, looking at Luo Hao walking towards him step by step, he actually had the feeling of seeing a god descending from the mortal world and walking towards him. Since we're going to do something, of course we have to make the scene a bit grander. Luo Hao opened the long-lost Wanjie chat skirt while walking, and then launched a live broadcast. Just now my subordinates 360 pretended, but there is no such treatment. There is no way. Giving up the opportunity to pretend to Minato and others is enough for him. How can it be possible to give back to Minato, Tsukumo and others to start the online live broadcast, so that they can become famous all over the world? Treatments such as online live broadcasting and making all Konoha shinobi users stand up and pay tribute. Of course, only he, the administrator of the 10,000 Realms chat skirt, is eligible to enjoy it. As for the others, it is already a gift to be able to quietly pretend to be in front of themselves. At least this opportunity is enough for Aizen Sosuke and other members to grab their scalps one by one. Administrator Luo Hao initiates a live video broadcast. Since the 10,000 Worlds Pretend conference ended, everyone was busy doing Hogyoku, pretending to be a sacred tree, which led to everyone diving, and the skirt chat that had been stagnant for a year suddenly became active. What are you kidding? This administrator starts a live broadcast, and something shocking will happen every minute. Whether it's Aizen Sosuke who is planting the sacred tree in Hueco Mundo, or a group who went to the world of cutting red pupils to study Hogyoku, Billion, Cheomung and others who worked on the sacred tree opened their skirt chats one after another, and turned their attention to the live video one by one. Advertisement. Chapter 344 Prestige 10 Tails. Advertisement. Whitebeard. Live video. It feels like I haven't seen this thing in ages. Seeds. It was sent by Luo Hao, hasn't he returned to the ninja world? Zhang Chulin. Needless to say, Boss Luo is most likely tormenting other ninja villages in the ninja world. Aizen Sosuke. It's really not Hokage-sama's style to not do anything for a day. Luo Hao. 4 battles are live online, let's find out. Zhang Chulin. I'll just say it. Zhang Chulin. How far has it progressed? For Luo Hao's live broadcast of the 4 wars, everyone put down what they were doing. The last time the Cloud Shinobi village was destroyed, it was shocking enough to finally produce a sacred tree. This battle involving the 4 ninja villages naturally attracted the attention of many skirt friends. Whitebeard. I heard from Billion that the 4th war seems to have affected the 5 ninja villages, and Akatsuki organized it. Seeds. Cloud Shinobi was wiped out, so the 4 ninja villages still have the Akatsuki organization. Zhang Chulin. Boss Luo, what's the situation now? Where's 3 shadows? Luo Hao. 2 died, and 1 surrendered. Zhang Chulin. Aizen Sosuke. Where is the Akatsuki organization? Luo Hao. There are only 3 left. Aizen Sosuke. Whitebeard. What about the Ninja Alliance and the White Zetsu Army? Luo Hao. The Ninja Alliance collapsed across the board, and the White Zetsu Army was wiped out. All skirt friends. All the skirt friends. Then why are you still broadcasting the 4th battle? You are here to broadcast after the 4 battles are over. Luo Hao. And Uchiha Obito, Nagato and Konan, and a sacred tree. Hearing the divine tree, the eyes of all the skirt friends lit up. Advertisement. They turned their attention to the live video. Sure enough, I saw a stunted little god tree standing under the moonlight. After seeing this little god tree, they knew that the fun had just begun. In comparison, the previous Sankage, Ninja Alliance, and White Zetsu battles were just the prelude to the 4 wars, or a warm-up. The real climax comes now. After all, when it comes to the sacred tree, there must be no simple one. Have you finally couldn't help but want to make a move? Tianren. Standing on the top of the small god tree, Uchiha Obito looked at Luo Hao solemnly. Not long ago, he just learned something from Uchiha Madara. He thought he was the first in the sky, the second in the earth, Uchiha Madara was the third, and he was the 4th. Unknowingly ran to Konoha to tease 9 tails. He even competed with Tianan. Originally he thought he was the return of the king. As a result, he was hit hard, lost his eyes, and lost his life. After relying on Izanagi to recover a dog's life, he was persuaded and awakened. Let alone the one who has received Uchiha Madara's inheritance, even Uchiha Madara himself will definitely be pressed to the ground and rubbed against him. Can't bear it. Your use of this term is not standard at all. Luo Hao shook his head. Do you know, I've tried to give you as much time as possible. But you are transplanting and dawdling here. Even my subordinates showed off one by one, you haven't done 10 tails yet. Seriously, King, I'm really full of doubts about your ability to do things. What the heck did that idiot Uchiha Madara suffer to choose you to carry out his plan? Advertisement. He was straightforward and completely ruthless, but Uchiha Obito was so angry that his face turned purple, but he didn't dare to speak. Obito, stop talking nonsense. Tianren can't escape this level. The difference is only a matter of time. Tiandao Pain took a deep breath. Can Geto statue evolve to be able to fight Tenon? Conan asked a crucial question. Backquote probably not. Uchiha Obito wanted to say yes, but the words changed when he got to his lips. Then you still say we still have a chance. Conan said coldly. Plus this may be a little hopeful. At least get the 10 tails to evolve to the final stage. Uchiha Obito opened his eyes. With the help of Hashirama cells, he and Hitaki Kakashi stared at each other just now, and the pupil power that was consumed has been restored to a minimum. After he opened the Mangekyo Sharingan again, Susanoo reappeared. However, this one does not stand on the ground of the ninja world in the form of a complete Susanoo, but is turned into layers of armor and draped on the small god tree. Zhang Chulin. Damn it. Is this Weizhuang 10 tails? Seeds. Susanoo can still be used like this. Although this little Zhao Haojiao is a bit ugly, he still has something. Whitebeard. One day I ate the fruit of the sacred tree, and I also grabbed a Sea Kings. Let's play with Sea Kings. Aizen Sosuke. Hueco Mundo should have a lot of Super Manos Grande. You can catch a few to play with. Witnessing Uchiha Obito's new use of Susanoo through the live broadcast, many skirt friends are interested, and want to play their own prestige Suzu song. Can Susanoo still be used like this? Tiandao Pain's face was overjoyed, and he secretly said in his heart that he is indeed the man who has had dinner with Uchiha Madara for several years. Although this strength is a little better, but he knows a lot of unknown things. At least, he never thought that Susanoo could use it like this. Advertisement. Chapter 345 Child, you are blocking the way of the fourth generation's pretend. Advertisement. Master Hokage, does Obito need me to solve it? Uchiha Obito has recovered his pupil power, and Hitaki Kakashi will naturally not be behind him. Seeing Uchiha Obito showing Susanoo, he created such a prestige 10 tails. Are you sure you can handle 10 tails? Hearing this, Luo Hao stared at Hitaki Kakashi quietly. Hitaki Kakashi thought that he was carrying double Kamui permanent skins, even if he couldn't fight, he could hold back 10 tails. When he was about to promise that he could do it, a big hand covered his mouth in vain, forcefully when Kakashi comes to my mouth, I can block it with 3 words. Master Hokage, Kakashi is young and ignorant, and his strength is humble. It is obvious from the first look that he will not be able to settle 10 tails. This important opponent must be shot by you before we can rest assured. While talking, Hitaki Tsukumo twisted Hitaki Kakashi away like a chicken. Dad, what are you doing? I promised before Lord Hokage that I would take Obito. 070 If you do this, I will break my promise to Lord Hokage. Although Hitaki Kakashi was pulled aside, he still said reluctantly. Fool, where has all your usual cleverness gone? After switching to a pair of Mangekyo Sharingan, your head is blocked by the power of the Sharingan. Or did hitting the Hashirama cells make you stupid? After Hitaki Tsukumo turned Hitaki Kakashi to the corner, he immediately reprimanded him. It does not make sense. Hitaki Kakashi was directly stunned. Advertisement. In his memory, White Fang rarely scolded him. It is almost never before that there is such a slap in the face like today. This made him dumbfounded and dumbfounded. I don't understand what wrong thing I did, and I actually got reprimanded by White Fang. Let me tell you, if you don't make a move, at most you will break your promise to Master Hokage, and the fourth generation will never argue with you. But if you just made a move, I guarantee that it is not as simple as breaking your promise to him. It's no wonder he didn't punish you to clean the toilet after the Fourth World War is over. After Hitaki Tsukumo glanced at Luo Hao carefully, he immediately lowered his voice and said to Hitaki Kakashi. Why? Hitaki Kakashi said, son, you blocked Tenon's way to pretend. Hitaki Tsukumo put his hand on Hitaki Kakashi's shoulder and said earnestly. Hitaki Kakashi's pupils shrank, and his back was soaked in cold sweat for a moment. Look at the Konoha high level, as everyone knows that Namikaze Minato likes to do it best. All executives know that Luo Hao loves pretend. When he thought that he had almost blocked 4th Hokage's pretend path just now intentionally or unintentionally, and even blatantly snatched 4th Hokage's pretend opportunity, he was startled and broke into a cold sweat. Dad, sure enough, ginger is still old and spicy. If you hadn't pulled me this time, something big would have happened. Hitaki Kakashi said with lingering fear. Nonsense. Do you think your father and I have been with the 4th generation for nothing all these years, Dade? Although your dad and I don't wipe 4th generations *** 24 hours a day like Lu Ju, but after serving him for a long time, don't you know his personality and preferences? Advertisement. Hitaki Tsukumo said slightly smugly. No way. Konohagakure of New Oda, who doesn't know that Luo Hao is the most important protector, or that he happens to be one of the 2 elder advisors? As for the other one, of course Nara has been around for a long time. Weizhuang 10 tails. Come on, let me see how different it is from Uchiha Madara's prestige Susanoo made with 9 tails back then. Seeing that Hitaki Tsukumo took his son who was desperate and wanted to ruin his pretended event very discerningly, after Hitaki Kakashi was taken away, Luo Hao nodded with satisfaction, and then refocused his eyes on the towering 10 tails in front of him body. Although the complete 2 tails, 8 tails, and 9 tails are missing, after 10 tails has undergone evolution time and time again, its body shape has become closer and closer to the original god tree posture. Similarly, the power is frantically moving towards the final form of the divine tree. At this time, combined with the full body Susanoo, it will undoubtedly greatly increase the destructive power of 10 tails. Do it. Uchiha Obito and Tendo Pain looked at each other. Tailed Beast Bomb. Tiandao Pain completed the seal with lightning speed with both hands. 10 tails wearing Susanoo armor quickly condenses 4 purple and reddish-tailed beast bombs. Each one is like a fruit with a positive and huge size. Evolved to this point, Tianwei's tailed beast bomb form has completely surpassed the scope of the 9-tailed beasts. It's not over yet. Uchiha Obito's eyes widened. As the Mangekyo Sharingan turned at a high speed, 10 tails torso suddenly extended 4 arms covered with Susanoo armor. Immediately afterwards, the 4 arms pulled out 4 extremely huge chakra-long knives, and then inserted them into the 4-tailed beast bombs respectively. After absorbing Susanoo's chakra-long knife, tailed beast bomb instantly burst into dazzling yellow light. Advertisement. Chapter 346 Obito. Do you want to s me off so you can inherit my 10 tails? Advertisement. There's something. Seeing this scene, Hitaki Tsukumo's eyes flickered slightly. I didn't expect Obito to have such means. Namikaze Minato's eyes flashed, a little complicated. Seeing the former students, after learning half of the will of fire, going further and further down the wrong path, he felt very uncomfortable. After all, it's embarrassing to say it. The dignified Yellow Flash actually taught a rebellious student. What ability are you planning to use this time? Devil Fruit. Zanpakuto. Are your pair of reincarnation Sharingan? Ant Snake's eyes were full of curiosity. For Luo Hao's ability, he is very looking forward to it. After all, the abilities mastered by my disciples are too many and too complicated. And every ability is so powerful that it is outrageous. Obito. After combining with Susanoo, condensing 4-tailed beast bombs that can wipe almost any force in the ninja world from the map except Konoha, Tiandao Pain suddenly said. Uchiha Obito was just about to launch the tailed beast bomb, and he paused slightly after hearing Tiandao Pain's words. After this blow, it is estimated that I will come to the end. Tiandao Pain's words changed Uchiha Obito's expression drastically. What? Uchiha Obito clenched his fists. He certainly wasn't mourning Nagato's death. It's just that Nagato died at an inopportune time. Advertisement. If it was normal, if it was before the start of the Fourth World War, Nagato said that he couldn't do it, then he would definitely happily inherit Nagato's legacy, Rinnegan. But now, just as Tianrin were about to start a brutal fight, Nagato said that he couldn't do it. This almost made Uchiha Obito's mentality explode. You can't die early, why do you want to die when you start a group? Could it be that you are trying to s me off so you can inherit my 10 tails and Mangekyo Sharingan? Let Geto statue evolve twice in a row, my body is exhausted. Tiandao Pain said lightly, why are you telling me this? Uchiha Obito tried his best to control his emotions. He was afraid that after his mentality exploded, he couldn't help but control 10 tails to send Nagato to die early. I know you've been plotting my Rinnegan. Don't you want it? I give you. Black Zetsu should be nearby by now. No more hassle. After I die, I will ask Conan to use the summoning technique to summon my corpse, and then Rinnegan will give it to you. Perhaps knowing that he was going to die soon, Tiandao Pain's expression was very calm. Reason. Uchiha Obito knows that Nagato can't be so nice to himself for no reason. Although the two have cooperated a lot in these years, they are also guarding against each other at the same time. Tell me, what is your purpose all this time? You worked so hard to get Geto statue or 10 tails out. Tiandao Pain's eyes turned cold, and he stared firmly at Uchiha Obito's eyes. While he was speaking, the 10 tails under the two of them suddenly moved. One of the tailed beast bombs actually adjusted its angle and aimed at Uchiha Obito. Advertisement. Obviously, if Uchiha Obito's answer doesn't satisfy him, it's self-evident who this tailed beast bomb will hit. Infinite Tsukuyomi, a legacy of the ultimate illusion from the Sage of Six Paths. A world of absolute peace without war can be created. 0 for flowers. Uchiha Obito was silent for a few seconds, then spoke of his quest. From the moment Nohara Lin died, he questioned the world. Bringing Nohara Lin back to life is no longer his only pursuit. At the same time, he also wants Nohara Lin to live in a world where she will never be harmed. With a glassy heart, he naturally chose Infinite Tsukuyomi. Infinite Tsukuyomi. Hope you actually get it. Tiandao Pain heard the words, a pair of Rinnegan burst out with a compelling light, and then 4-tailed beast bombs fused with Susanoo's chakra-long knife shot towards Luo Hao at the same time with a sharp sound of piercing the air. 0. Apparently, Nagato, who is also glass-hearted, was persuaded. In this era when Naruto has not grown up yet and Luo Hao does not allow him and Obito to be whitewashed, there is no possibility of him being whitewashed. Like Uchiha Obito, I can only go further and further on the road of Infinite Tsukuyomi and become one of the favorite actors of the director Black Zetsu. Tailed beast bomb from 10 tails. Then I'll show you something good too. Facing the 4 terrifying tailed beast bombs piercing through the air, Luo Hao not only didn't panic at all, but stretched out his hand to the void with a smile on his face. Summoning technique. With a bang, as the white mist swept out from the sky, a giant tree that was far larger than Uchiha Obito and the sacred tree at the feet of Tendao Pain suddenly appeared and stood majestically in the ninja world with a posture that blocked the sky and the sun. Boom. As soon as this giant tree appeared, a wooden palm that was bigger than a mountain and looked like an island suddenly slapped forward. This gesture is like swatting flies and mosquitoes. With one slap, the 4-tailed beast bombs were like 4 balloons. Not only were they sent flying on the spot, but they were also crushed. Advertisement. Chapter 347 Twin Ten Tails, God Tree and Shinigami Tree. Advertisement. Impossible. Seeing this scene, Uchiha Obito was so shocked that his face was as pale as paper. How did this kind of thing happen? Tiandao Pain didn't know whether he hit the limit, was about to die, or was overly shocked, but he couldn't even stand still, and sat directly on top of Ten Tails. Tailed Beast Bomb was photographed flying. Surprised them, of course. But what really made them lose their composure was the huge monster summoned by Luo Hao. Although the appearance is a little different, more than 90% of the places are still the same. God Tree. Another sacred tree. Moreover, it is also a 310 sacred tree with super well-developed growth, far surpassing the 10 tails under my feet. How come you have a sacred tree? While Uchiha Obito cried out in surprise, a flash of inspiration flashed in his heart. At this moment, all doubts were solved by him. Why do Namikaze Minato, Hitaki Sakumo, Narashirju and other high-ranking Konohas suddenly appear so many terrifying blood successors? It turns out that all this originated from Luo Hao. And the reason why Luo Hao can give them so many terrible blood successors is entirely because Luo Hao also mastered a sacred tree. Wields a tree of terror far beyond the 10 tails beneath his feet. After all, the sacred tree is known as the source of all chakra in the ninja world, so it is normal for Luo Hao, who has mastered the sacred tree, to have the ability to bestow blood successors. Why can't I have a sacred tree? Luo Hao asked back with a half-smile. This look of Uchiha Obito and Tendo Pain is brilliant. This is what he wants. Uchiha Obito just spoke, but was interrupted before he could finish speaking. You don't think the sacred tree grows out of thin air, do you? Since there is a sacred tree, of course there are people who grow it. Like the 10 tails beneath your feet, I am the one who planted the Shinigami tree. Advertisement. Luo Hao's words made Uchiha Obito and others' faces change again and again. The person who planted the god tree, he can even plant the god tree. No wonder he is so powerful. It turns out, Tianren is this the true strength of Tianren. I actually tried to fight against such a person. Uchiha Obito only felt that his heart was gradually sinking to the bottom. Horrible. He discovered that the two sides were not of the same magnitude at all. When he and Uchiha Madara were still working hard for the sacred tree left by the predecessors, Luo Hao has become the person who planted the sacred tree, and successfully planted a Shinigami tree. In comparison, whether he is good or Uchiha Madara, they are just a joke that makes people laugh. It's impossible to fight at all. Tiandao Pain's face was full of bitterness and powerlessness. Conan was even more shocked and speechless. God. What exactly are they doing? What kind of person are they fighting with? What's wrong? All this reaction. Unacceptable. Or do you not have the courage to dance when you see this Shinigami tree under my feet? Luo Hao stood on the top of the Shinigami tree, looking down at the three of Uchiha Obito with blank faces. Confrontation. What to fight against? Tiandao Pain's eyes suddenly turned gray. Obviously, he was about to die, but he was stimulated by the Shinigami tree and learned that Luo Hao was actually the existence of the planting god tree. He couldn't bear it anymore and was going to meet the Hokage of the past. Give me the Rinnegan. Uchiha Obito took a deep breath. Either way, he must get the Rinnegan. Advertisement. As long as he gets the Rinnegan, he can continue to control the 10 tails. Otherwise, when Nagato dies, there will only be Mangekyo Sharingan, and even if he has the inheritance of Uchiha Madara, he will not be able to handle 10 tails. In the final analysis, although he is glass-hearted, he is stronger than Nagato after all. After all, before he and Uchiha Madara, he was a person who had learned half of the will of fire. At this time, although he didn't think he could defeat Luo Hao, he didn't give up completely. But it's a bit broken. Summoning technique. Conan sighed secretly. Heavenly Dao Pain's appearance, how could she not see it? Dying, even dying. Boo. With the appearance of a cloud of white mist, the expected Nagato's body did not appear, only a Rinnegan. What? Seeing this scene, Xiao Xing's face changed drastically. What went wrong? When Uchiha Obito was about to ask Conan what he meant, he woke up. Obviously something went wrong on Nagato's side. All Nagato's corpses were not summoned, but only one Rinnegan. Black Zetsu. Obito, what do you mean? Nagato has promised in 5.4 to give you Rinnegan after his death. Why did you send Black Zetsu to attack him? Conan glared at Uchiha Obito. No wonder just now Tiandao Pain collapsed in vain, lifeless. It turned out that Black Zetsu went to treat him. But why would he do that? Uchiha Obito's face tightened. He didn't answer Conan's words right away, but let his brain go into high gear, thinking about what Black Zetsu was doing. If Nagato refuses to hand over Rinnegan, then it is normal for Black Zetsu to do so. He is not surprised at all. Instead he backhandedly sent a sentence to Black Zetsu. Well done. Advertisement. Chapter 348 Konoha Dance King is back. Advertisement. But now, Black Zetsu's abnormal behavior not only didn't make Uchiha Obito happy at all, but also cast a shadow over it. He felt that not only the Fourth War was out of control, but even Black Zetsu had a big problem. This kind of uncontrollable things happened one after another, which really made him full of irritability and anxiety. Does he want to? After pondering for a few seconds, Uchiha Obito finally came to his senses. And only this can explain why Black Zetsu attacked Nagato. In a dark cave nearly 50 kilometers away from the battlefield of the Fourth Ninja World War, Nagato, who was as thin as a stick, had one yellow and one black body, looking very ferocious. Damn Nagato. Unexpectedly, you gave away a Rinnegan in the end. Do you think it will work to pin your hopes on that ridiculous idiot Obito? After Black Zetsu possessed Nagato, his voice was a bit dissatisfied. In the final analysis, he was never a member of the fighting type. Although his possession ability is extremely heaven-defying, it is also limited. Like Nagato, who possesses the Vortex physique, coupled with the ability of Rinnegan, even though the near-death resistance still cannot escape from his control, he won a short time to poach a Rinnegan in his eye socket. Although there is only one Rinnegan, it is enough. After Black Zetsu cursed, he began to control Nagato's body seal. Heretic Rinne Tensai technique. Boom. A coffin lid placed not far from Nagato was instantly kicked away by a big foot. Immediately afterwards, a man wearing ninja armor from the Sengoku era, but missing his eyes, jumped out of the coffin. Blood, young body, it seems to be a success. Advertisement. Uchiha Madara took a closer look at his physical condition at this time, and found that his body after resurrection was at its peak, and he couldn't help but smile brightly on his face. Master Madara, although you have been resurrected, the plan is a little different from what you expected. While talking, Black Zetsu dug out Nagato's Rinnegan and handed it to Uchiha Madara. Why only one Rinnegan? Uchiha Madara was a little dissatisfied. But thinking that Black Zetsu is his own will, after he has been working hard and doing things for himself in the years since he left the ninja world, his tone restrained a bit. After all, he is a product of his own creation. In a sense, Black Zetsu is him. As the Konoha Dance King, his temperament is not so bad that he is angry with himself. The Fourth Ninja World War has begun. Another Rinnegan is at Obito's. Now he is facing a formidable enemy. Before Black Zetsu could finish speaking, Uchiha Madara interrupted him cheerfully. Have a strong enemy. It's Tianrin that kid. It must be him. I knew he was a character when I learned of his existence. He's the only one other than Hashirama who can make my blood boil. The most important thing is that he has no Uchiha and Senju blood. It's amazing to be able to get to this point. When Luo Hao was active in the ninja world, even when he was named Tenin, Uchiha Madara, who was not dead at that time, had been secretly observing Luo Hao. It's a pity that he was already very old at that time, and considering the reasons for the plan, although he wished to dance with Luo Hao, he had no choice but to give up in the end. Advertisement. Now that he is resurrected and has a Rinnegan back, Uchiha Madara suddenly ignites the fighting spirit he had during the Third Ninja World War. He wants to fight Tenin. Look at how powerful Tenin, Tomo, who is called the god of ninja after himself and Senju Hashirama, is. Now that he's in the way of my plans, it's up to me to get rid of him. With Obito's ability, even if he holds my eyes, he won't be his opponent. Just in time, before I become 10 Tails Jinchuriki and drop infinite Tsukuyomi. Uchiha Madara finished speaking on his own, and then, without giving the constipated Black Zetsu a chance to explain the current situation in the ninja world, he jumped into the cave and flew 460 towards Luo Hao's position at an extremely fast speed. Master Madara. Seeing this scene, Black Zetsu was so anxious. Why can't this be ************** Do you understand people's language? Do you still think that the ninja world is still the ninja world you know? Konoha's bastards are crazy to add drama to themselves. A lot of perverts' blood successors have been produced. Just your pair of Rinnegans, and now there is only one, and you are rushing to dance, isn't it rushing to reincarnate? No, never let Madara die. If he dies, my 1,000 years of hard work will be in vain. Thinking of his heartache and hard work these years, Black Zetsu still can't watch Uchiha Madara go to die quietly. After sighing depressingly, he immediately chased after Uchiha Madara. It's just that he is also Kagayaji's son, but he didn't inherit much strength. Facing Uchiha Madara who puts all his heart and soul into dancing with Luo Hao, he can't catch up even with full power, and can only watch Uchiha Madara go farther and farther on the road to death. Advertisement. Chapter 349 Whitebeard. Let me go, I want to take Obito as my son. Advertisement. Obito, you must give me an answer. Konan naturally didn't know about the fact that Uchiha Madara was resurrected, carried a Rinnegan on his back without giving Black Zetsu a chance to explain, and rushed to die. At this moment, she was staring at Uchiha Obito questioningly. There is a posture that if Uchiha Obito doesn't give her an explanation, she will die together. The matter of Black Zetsu has nothing to do with me, I can't control it. Uchiha Obito thought that Uchiha Madara might be revived, and he might even be on his way to dance, so he was a little annoyed. What are you kidding? Who doesn't know that Black Zetsu is inseparable from you? Konan looked like you were rubbing my IQ on the ground. You are wrong. Black Zetsu was actually sent by Uchiha Madara to spy on me. He resurrected. If I'm not mistaken, Uchiha Madara is on his way here now. After Uchiha Obito expressed his guess, he stopped talking to Konan, and directly grabbed Rinnegan, then dug out a Mangekyo Sharingan from his eye socket, and put Rinnegan on it. With Hashirama cells in half his body, his damaged eye nerves quickly healed themselves. Uchiha Madara revived. Could it be Black Zetsu, who attacked Nagato in order to use the Heretic Rinne Tensai technique to revive Uchiha Madara? Konan was shocked. Good. If you don't want Nagato to die in vain, if you still want to continue Project Tsuki no Mi, if you want to give Nagato a sigh of relief, then you just step aside and don't get in my way. Although I won't help you kill Uchiha Madara, but at least I can prevent him from getting what he wants most. Uchiha Obito adapts quickly to Rinnegan's pupil power. Relying on the inheritance left to him by Uchiha Madara, although he can't use Rinnegan's pupil power like an arm in an instant, it is still not a problem to control Ten Tails with Rinnegan. Advertisement. It's just that after losing a Rinnegan, the skill of Prestige Ten Tails cannot be maintained. Uchiha Madara's purpose. Just when Conan was about to ask, Tianwei suddenly shook. 6 Paths 10 Tails coffin seal. Uchiha Obito brazenly nodded India. With his body as the center, the huge 10 Tails began to form a spiral posture and was sucked into his body. Is he going to be 10 Tails Jinchuriki? Is this his purpose? Faced with this weird situation, Conan also had to back away. As much as she wanted to interrupt Uchiha Obito, she gave up on the idea of Uchiha Madara being resurrected, most likely for 10 Tails. Although even without Black Zetsu's shot, Nagato would be dead. But women just like to be serious. As soon as Black Zetsu made a move, Inman went from a death to a homicide. Then Conan naturally won't let Uchiha Madara get what he wants. It seems that Uchiha Madara and Uchiha Obito are not of one mind either. Forget it, let your dogs bite dogs. After pondering for a moment, Conan could only grit his teeth and back away. No matter how, better to get 10 Tails taken by Uchiha Obito than by Uchiha Madara standing behind Black Zetsu. Even at this moment she had a thought in her mind. She can't wait for Uchiha Obito and Uchiha Madara to be killed by Tenon together. And it's very likely, she has always lived for others. Advertisement. When Yahiko was alive, she supported Yahiko. Yahiko died, she supported Nagato. Now that Nagato is dead, her thoughts of peace and protecting the Rain country are gone. Now she has only one thought, watching Uchiha Madara and Black Zetsu being rubbed on the ground by Tenon together. She can't personally avenge Nagato, and she has to witness the two being taken care of by Tenon together. Just when Uchiha Obito absorbed 10 Tails and planned to become 10 Tails Jinchuriki before Uchiha Madara, through the live video, the eyes of skirt friends who witnessed this scene lit up one after another. Zhang Chulin. The good show is on. Don't blink, gentlemen, the highlights of the Fourth World War are about to begin. Acetus. What is this? Zhang Chulin. 10 Tails Jinchuriki, just like other Jinchuriki with tailed beasts sealed inside. Aizen Sosuke. So there are so many ways to play 10 Tails. Whitebeard. Good thing, it can bear fruit, can be used as a summoning animal, and can also be a Jinchuriki. A seeds. Cheomung, how long will it take to get the seeds of the god tree? Okay, Cheomung. It's coming soon. But if you want to go faster, why don't you consider finding a ready-made one? Zhang Chulin. You mean Mewtwo, the one inside Uchiha Obito. Zhang Chulin. Acquisition of 10 Tails at a high price. A seeds. Great idea. After Luo Hao has finished playing, the sacred tree in Uchiha Obito's body will definitely fall into his hands. At that time, I asked him if he has any intention to sell it. Whitebeard. Boy Luo, let me go, I want to accept Obito's son. Luo Hao. A seeds. Mewtwo. Aizen Sosuke. Zhang Chulin. Advertisement. Chapter 350 started a fortune in 10,000 realms by adopting his son. Advertisement. To research and develop from scratch, the process of creation is always the longest and most difficult. But if there is a ready-made sacred tree for reference and research, it will be much easier. After being reminded by Cheomung, Acedes, Whitebeard, and Zhang Chulin, who had formed a small group in the skirt chat, immediately set their sights on 10 Tails in Uchiha Obito's body. It's just that Acedes didn't expect Whitebeard to be so cruel. There is no profit at all. Adopt Obito as a son directly. This way you can buy 10 Tails from Luo Hao without paying a high price. The old man Whitebeard really intends to have a son in every world. It seems that the business of adopting a son will be developed to the rhythm of the 10,000 realms. Luo Hao shook his head. He has a hunch. In a few years, whenever Whitebeard goes to the world, he can hear the sound of dad. Whether it is Hokage, Shinigami, pirates, under one man, etc., all kinds of worlds have the footprints of Whitebeard's son. What? Just when Luo Hao lamented that Whitebeard will most likely rely on adopting his son to make a fortune in Wanjie in the future, Uchiha Obito, who has already inhaled 10 Tails into his body, suddenly let out a long and painful howl. His body suddenly swelled up. It looks like an emerald green flesh, very disgusting. Looks like he can't handle 10 Tails. Nara Shikahisa opened Rinnegan and glanced at Uchiha Obito, and immediately knew what was going on. After most people become Jinchuriki, they will run away because they can't control the tail beast in their bodies. Not to mention Uchiha Obito who sealed 10 Tails. This is the best chance to deal with him. But Hokage-sama who loves pretend will definitely not do that. Hitaki Kakashi looks towards Luo Hao. Advertisement. In his line of sight, Hokage-sama is clasping his hands in front of him, admiring the transformation of Uchiha Obito with relish. Obviously as he thought, Luo Hao had no intention of blocking Uchiha Obito from becoming 10 Tails Jinchuriki. Success or failure depends on his own will. If he can control 10 Tails, he has a chance to leap DACD into a 6 paths level existence. Hitaki Sakumo's eyes flashed. 10 Tails, I have to say it is indeed a good thing. Even if it is not a complete 10 Tails, but once it becomes a 10 Tails Jinchuriki and can be controlled, it can at least become a 6 paths level existence. Although with Uchiha Obito's own strength and the degree of control over the incomplete 10 Tails, even if he becomes 6 paths Obito, he is still the last existence in the 6 paths level. But no matter what, it's also 6 paths level 1. Facing a super cage-level powerhouse, it is easy to crush. Obito. A trace of complexity flashed in Hatake Kakashi's eyes. He knew that Obito really couldn't turn back. The so-called Ten Tails Jinchuriki is nothing more than Obito's last madness. In his opinion, no matter whether Obito can overcome this hurdle and become a real Ten Tails Jinchuriki, the ending is already preordained. After being beaten by Luo Hao, pretending to be a wave, and then passing away. For this result, he never had the slightest doubt. Lin. Just when many people thought that Uchiha Obito was about to go berserk and be dominated by Ten Tails, Uchiha Obito suddenly yelled. The emerald green flesh that almost swallowed his body began to shrink wildly. In an instant, a figure holding a black tin rod, with a truth-seeking ball hanging behind his back, with bare feet, black hook jade printed on his chest, and wearing Sage of Six Paths clothes came into everyone's sight. Is this the power of the Sage of Six Paths? Feeling the unprecedented powerful force flowing in the body, Uchiha Obito's eyes flashed a touch of amazement and intoxication. The soaring power even made him float. Advertisement. Suddenly an idea came to mind. Maybe I, who became Ten Tails Jinchuriki, can wrestle with Luo Hao. Maybe I still can't beat Luo Hao, but at least I should be able to pass the trick, not as desperate as before. Your eyes have changed. Now you should be thinking that you can fight against me. The changes in Uchiha Obito's eyes and momentum naturally cannot escape Luo Hao's insight. Good. I am now the equivalent of the Sage of Six Paths. Uchiha Obito's eyes flashed with pride. How much strength there is, how much the heart expands. The identity and power of the Ten Tails Jinchuriki inflated Obito to ultimate. Equivalent to Six Paths. You really are an ant looking at the sky. It's just a broken Six Paths class, how dare you compare yourself to Six Paths? The Six Paths old man is also very bitter. Any descendant who jumps out will be able to compare with him. Luo Hao couldn't help shaking his head and laughing when he heard this. He knew that Obito would swell, but he didn't expect it to swell to this extent. Is this a common problem with Ten Tails Jinchuriki? Be it Obito or Uchiha Madara, after becoming Ten Tails Jinchuriki, each of them feels that they are equivalent to Six Paths. But these guys never thought that before Sage of Six Paths became Ten Tails Jinchuriki, Kagaya, who joined forces with his younger brother and didn't know how to fight very much. During the period when Kagaya was sealed and became Ten Tails Jinchuriki, the strength of Sage of Six Paths entered the level of Kagaya. And it is different from Kagaya Haim, who lacks combat experience and has extremely poor combat awareness and will. After becoming Ten Tails Jinchuriki, Sage of Six Paths has experienced many battles. Before this god of ninja came to the ninja world, it would not be an exaggeration to say that he was the #1 master in the ninja world. Advertisement. Chapter 351 Obito, have you been kicked by light? Advertisement. Whether I'm really comparable to Six Paths, don't you know if you try it? Uchiha Obito saw Luo Hao's attitude of not taking himself seriously after he became Ten Tails Jinchuriki, and suddenly became annoyed. At this time, he swelled up and even dared to provoke Tien Ren, who made him terrified before. I admire you. Knowing that you will die, you are still going to die. Luo Hao nodded happily. Call out. Almost as soon as he finished speaking, Uchiha Obito disappeared in place. Without the double Kamui permanent skin, he naturally can't use Kamui, and he also doesn't know time and space ninjutsu. At this moment, the speed he showed was nothing more than the speed of his physical body moving. This is my strength. Uchiha Obito dodged to come behind Luo Hao with a right hand, and a truth-seeking ball suspended behind his back immediately fell into his palm, and then slashed at Luo Hao's neck with a blow. After becoming a Ten Tails Jinchuriki, even if you can't integrate yin-yang and 5 elements chakra, you will automatically master the ability of truth-seeking ball. For Uchiha Obito, using the truth-seeking ball is as easy as eating and drinking. Just like the people of the Uchiha clan, although they cannot create Sharingan, but after opening their eyes, it does not prevent them from using Sharingan. Sheila. After slashing the palm carrying the truth-seeking ball, the confident expression on Uchiha Obito's face froze. The shot he was aiming for was missed. Luo Hao, who was standing in front of him a second ago, disappeared out of thin air the moment the knife in his hand fell. Obito, have you ever been kicked by the light? Just when Uchiha Obito was in a daze, a voice full of jokes suddenly sounded in his ear. Not good. Advertisement. Uchiha Obito's expression changed drastically, but before he could respond, a golden right foot swept across his back faster than the sound. With a bang, centering on Uchiha Obito's body, a circle of majestic shock waves visible to the naked eye rippled in the sky like ripples in a book. Immediately afterwards, Uchiha Obito's body was like a meteorite falling from the sky, and it flew back at a speed several times faster than when flying to Luo Hao with an explosive sound of breaking through the air. Finally, with a loud noise, it hit the ground hard. While smashing out a big hole, it also rolled up smoke and dust all over the sky. Zhang Chulin. Inflated. Obito boy. Cheomong. I feel pain even through the screen. Acedes. Courage is commendable. Whitebeard. It's the first time Laozi has seen someone dare to push the DK to Boy Luo's face. Aizen Sosuke. I have the most say in this kick. I think Mr. Hokage used this kick to teach me to be low-key and not pretend. Seeing the tragic situation of Uchiha Obito, all the friends who eat melon skirts feel that there is no surprise, but also admire Uchiha Obito very much. Only in this way can he pretend to be in front of the administrator. Anyway, the last person who dared to do this has already died twice. That's right. That person is Aizen Sosuke. If Luo Hao hadn't revived him, Aizen Sosuke would not only have died twice, but the grass on his grave would be 3 feet high. How so? I've clearly become a 10 tails Jinchuriki. Why can't I see his movements clearly? Uchiha Obito's mentality almost exploded after being kicked. He couldn't understand that he had Mangekyo in his left eye, Rinnegan in his right eye, and 10 tails in his stomach, but he still couldn't keep up, and he couldn't even see Luo Hao's movements clearly. 0 for flowers. There is no reason. Advertisement. 8802 plus. Why is it still the one who was beaten? There's something wrong with this script. What are you staring at, Obito? Just when Uchiha Obito was kicked by Luo Hao and stood there in a daze, that familiar bantering voice came from behind him again. KR. Without even thinking about it, Uchiha Obito controlled the flames burning on the scales behind him to sweep towards Luo Hao behind him. 0. Where are you playing? I am standing in front of you. But before Uchiha Obito's flame was released, Luo Hao not only stood in front of him, but even stretched out a finger to wrap his shoulder. Okay. So fast. Uchiha Obito's pupils shrank, and 3 words just appeared in his mind, and the dazzling golden light had already engulfed his eyes. Bang. The huge golden energy ball instantly expanded to a radius of a kilometer. The horror of the flashing fruit was brought into full play in his hands at this moment. As strong as Uchiha Obito, this self-comparable sage of 6 paths 10 tails Jinchuriki is as weak as an ant in front of Luo Hao. In addition to being beaten, there is no second way to go. Hateful. After the huge explosion, Uchiha Obito flew upside down thousands of meters away and smashed 3 mountains. Uchiha Obito, who was buried in the rocks, gritted his teeth and woke up. The beatings of the society are the best way for the inflated people to accept the reality. This is how Obito is now. Advertisement. Chapter 352. Don't tell 10 tails Jinchuriki that's it. That's it. Advertisement. As the gap between me and Tenon really that big? Even if I have become 10 tails Jinchuriki, I can only be so vulnerable in front of him. Although Uchiha Obito was beaten awake, he felt extremely unwilling. He put in so much effort, suffered so many beatings, and even died once to finally become 10 tails Jinchuriki, but he was still beaten. It didn't completely collapse, and the explosion on the spot was already the reason why I had received half a set of Will of Fire in Konoha back then. How? Where did that confident look go? Did you know, Obito? I've given you plenty of time. After becoming a 10 tails Jinchuriki, is it possible for you to explain to me just such a little thing? Don't you tell 10 tails Jinchuriki that's it. That's it. In a flash of golden light, Luo Hao was already standing in front of Uchiha Obito. Looking at Uchiha Obito who has no edges and corners after receiving a severe beating from the society, he is very disappointed. Originally he was counting on Uchiha Obito to be able to entertain himself a little bit after becoming 10 tails Jinchuriki. As a result, he has already kept his hand, just using the ability of the shining fruit. But Uchiha Obito is still so disappointing. It's just dancing for a second or two before wilting. This made him feel extremely disappointed. It feels like I've been waiting for so long. Why? Uchiha Obito raised his head and stared at Luo Hao ferociously. What why? Luo Hao stared at Uchiha Obito. Why are you so strong? Why are you so strong? Lin will still die. Before Luo Hao could answer, Uchiha Obito asked again. This glass-hearted guy. Advertisement. Couldn't I have crippled his brain just now? Hearing this, Luo Hao was a little speechless. Nohara Lin's death is none of his business. This is not my disciple. He was so busy during World War III. They have to single out the 4 ninja villages and clean up the 4 shadows one by one, and they are basically besieged by tens of thousands of people wherever they go. How can I have time to pay attention to someone who is not my disciple? You want to take responsibility for Rin Nohara's death, you also want to take responsibility for Kakashi who stabbed her to death, and Namikaze Minato who failed to save her, right? Is it wrong to feel too strong? Obviously your strength is so powerful. Even the 4 great ninja villages can be erased in one thought. Why did you make the 3rd ninja war appear? Why don't you just erase the 4 great ninja villages? Why let Lin die? Uchiha Obito roared at Luo Hao with a hideous face. I didn't make you 10 tails Jinchuriki so you could ask me such silly questions. Facing Uchiha Obito's questioning again and again, Luo Hao flicked his fingers. Click. The space exploded on the spot with cracks that were visible to the naked eye and that were shocking. Immediately afterwards, a shock wave that shook the earth, even the sky, spread instantly. Uchiha Obito, who was still about to continue asking questions, was instantly sent flying thousands of meters away. Why? Uchiha Obito is like crazy. Relying on the physique and recovery ability of 10 tails Jinchuriki. He quickly recovered from his injuries, and after getting up from the ground, he continued to howl again and again. Where are so many and why? There is only one reason. I was not Hokage at the time, Konoha was not my caller, and Sarutobi Hiruzen was holding back. Advertisement. So the 4 great ninja villages escaped in the 3rd Ninja World War. Of course the most important reason is that Nohara Lin is not my disciple. I naturally want to take care of my disciples first. If I remember correctly, at that time my disciple Guy seemed to be surrounded by thousands of rock shinobi, so I was going to save him. As for Rin Nohara, if I remember correctly, Minato and Sarutobi seemed to be in charge of that area. Are you satisfied with this answer? Luo Hao took a step forward, and he appeared in front of Uchiha Daiwang. 0. You ask me so many why. I also have a why I want to ask you. You are now a 10 Tails Jinchuriki and have a Rinnegan. Why not resurrect Nohara Rin? After answering Uchiha Obito, Luo Hao asked with great interest why. Resurrection Lin. Uchiha Obito was dumbfounded. He really hadn't thought about this question. Once Nohara Lin dies, he will explode with a glass heart. Immediately after being bewitched by Uchiha Madara, under the domination of Rinnegan's illusion, he directly inherited Uchiha Madara's will, walked on the 10 paths of using the eyes. He just wants to finish Project Tsuki no Mi, cast Infinite Tsukuyomi to create a world without peace, and then create a fake 4.2 Nohara Rin. But to revive a Nohara Lin, he really never thought about it. Especially after Luo Hao said this, he realized that he seemed to be able to revive Nohara Lin. And become 10 Tails Jinchuriki's own resurrection Nohara Rin. Such a weak ninja doesn't have to die. Now you are not as useless as you were back then. If you revive her, then you can protect her 24 hours a day. Then why haven't you resurrected her? Luo Hao looked at Uchiha Obito, whose expression was changing, and the smile in his eyes grew stronger. Uchiha Madara. In order to inherit your will for Obito, you really did a lot of tricks on him. Advertisement. Chapter 353 One-Eyed Dancer, Uchiha Madara joins. Advertisement. Uchiha Obito didn't realize there was anything wrong with him. But in fact, since he met Uchiha Madara, he has been unable to help himself. This is involuntary, not only the body, but also the spirit, soul, and even the will. Although Uchiha Madara does not have the distinguished heavenly gods who directly rewrite human thinking ability, but with his ability, spending a little time to subtly change Uchiha Obito's will is extremely simple. The last time Luo Hao saw Uchiha Obito in Konohagakure, he already sensed something was wrong. This time the reincarnation Sharingan was activated, so he could see it more clearly. Uchiha Obito has already been hit by Uchiha Madara without anyone knowing it. Interesting. No wonder Uchiha Obito didn't want to do Hokage all these years after Uchiha Madara's death. But after becoming 10 Tails Jinchuriki and fighting Uzumaki Naruto, his thoughts changed, as if he was a different person. The feelings were not only succeeded by Zuiden 30, but also because of becoming 10 Tails Jinchuriki, the technique left by Uchiha Madara on him was gradually erased. It is difficult to affect his will anymore. Quote. Luo Hao secretly thought, Resurrection Lin. That's right. Now I can revive Lin. I am now 10 Tails Jinchuriki, with my strength, as long as Lin does not provoke 10 tails, no one in the world of ninja can hurt Lin. And Lin is a Konoha shinobi, so there is no possibility of provoking Tenon. After Uchiha Obito heard Luo Hao's words, his heart was shocked, and at the same time, his heart was also struggling strongly. On the one hand, he felt that he had to use Infinite Tsukuyomi, and only in the world of Infinite Tsukuyomi, Lin would be absolutely safe. On the one hand, he felt that he was 10 Tails Jinchuriki, not to mention unrivaled in strength, but also first class. He could resurrect Lin in this real world and protect him well. I don't trust Kakashi myself. I don't trust Namikaze Minato myself. Advertisement. Don't you still believe that you can still protect Nohara Rin? At this moment, Uchiha Obito's heart seems to have a split personality. The two ideas fought fiercely and collided constantly. This guy has a bit of a split personality. There's something about Uchiha Madara's illusion. The glass-hearted Uchiha Obito is brutally schizophrenic. Quote. Luo Hao looked at Uchiha Obito, whose expression was unpredictable like that of Sichuan, and the smile on his face became brighter and brighter. The resurrection of Uchiha Madara is unknown to others. With his perceptual ability, he knew it in his heart as early as the moment Uchiha Madara was resurrected. Now he wants to see what Uchiha Madara will do in the face of the out-of-control Uchiha Obito. Reincarnation Madara is strong, but it is not easy to defeat Uchiha Obito. Not to mention that the current reincarnation Madara only has one Rinnegan. On the contrary, as long as Uchiha Obito's will is firm, as time goes by, the more he can control the power of 10 tails, the more powerful he will be. Uchiha Madara is obviously not going to take down 6 paths Obito that easily. What's wrong with me? What have I been doing all these years? Why do you have some stupid plans for the Eye of the Moon? I just need to become 10 Tails Jinchuriki, possess the top strength in the ninja world, and then revive Lin to protect her. Uchiha Obito put his hands on his head. He acted as if he was in some kind of pain. When this pain rose to ultimate, he screamed loudly. Advertisement. Lin. Yes, what I want to do is resurrect you. After roaring up to the sky, Uchiha Obito seemed to have wiped out all the hands and feet that Uchiha Madara had done to him in the past few years, and his expression was no longer ferocious as before, but very calm. Obito, what are you doing? Why have all become 10 Tails Jinchuriki, and the plan of the Eye of the Moon has not been implemented? Just when Uchiha Obito calmed down, an indifferent voice with strong dissatisfaction came from afar in vain. Immediately afterwards, a figure in the void hit Uchiha Obito like a meteorite. If you're still dawdling here, give me the Rinnegan and let me do it. The person who descended from the sky 273 with billowing dust is naturally the Konoha Dance King, Uchiha Madara, who can't beat Shinigami. Project Tsuki no Mi. Hey, I don't need that kind of thing anymore. Uchiha Obito turned to look at Uchiha Madara. For this man's resurrection, he was not surprised at all. From the moment Black Zetsu launched his eerie attack on Nagato, he knew that Uchiha Madara was coming back to life. What did you say? Uchiha Madara's face turned cold, and her eyes fixed on Uchiha Obito. At this time, his only remaining Rinnegan exudes a fierce murderous intent, and there is a posture that Uchiha Obito will attack immediately if he doesn't give him an explanation. Compared to the Eye of the Moon, there are more important things waiting for me to do now. Uchiha Obito met Uchiha Madara's eyes without fear. In the past, he was naturally cowardly in the face of Uchiha Madara. But now, as Ten-Tails Jinchuriki, although there are people in the ninja world who he can love, it is definitely not the one-eyed reincarnation Madara in front of him. Advertisement. Chapter 354 Tianren, I, Madara, recognize you. Advertisement. Is there something more important than the Eye of the Moon? Then I would like to ask you, is there anything more important than the plan of the Eye of the Moon? Uchiha Madara said in a deep voice. He's not surprised at all that Uchiha Obito beat him to become Ten-Tails Jinchuriki. It's all in his plan. In comparison, Uchiha Obito's abnormal behavior made him more concerned. Of course it's Resurrection Lin. Uchiha Obito said as a matter of course. Madness. So what if you revive her? Isn't the lesson from last time not enough? Reviving her in this incurable world is nothing but an injury in the end. Only the world of infinite Tsukuyomi where there is no pain, no war, and no death is where everyone belongs. Uchiha Madara looked indignant. In fact, he is the biggest fan of Project Tsuki no Mi. Now seeing that Uchiha Obito, who he cultivated by himself, questioned and betrayed Project Tsuki no Mi, how could he not be angry? In comparison, Uchiha Obito became Ten-Tails Jinchuriki before himself, and he didn't care. As long as Uchiha Obito continues with Project Tsuki no Mi it will be fine. What really d him off was that Obito became Ten-Tails Jinchuriki, questioning and even betraying Project Tsuki no Mi. Maybe, but this is definitely not Lin's home. For me before, infinite Tsukuyomi is indeed more suitable for Lin. But now, I have the ability to let Lin live in the real world, why should I let her live in the fake world? Uchiha Obito confronts Uchiha Madara without giving an inch. Advertisement. Seeing Uchiha Obito's unrelenting and ignorant look, Uchiha Madara was even angrier. I said that it would be too boring for you to quarrel there, why don't you talk to me? Just when Uchiha Madara wanted to teach Uchiha Obito a lesson, Luo Hao's voice came in vain. Aizen Sosuke. Zhang Chulin. Seamless insertion. Acetus. I get it. Whitebeard. Captain Aizen, please tell me how you feel. Cheomung. Fortunately, I am a super beast, I can usually solve it with fists, and I never beep. Such high-level pretend lines, with such a strong Aizen Sosuke style, at first glance, it is the product of Shinigami's king. This time, there is no need for Billion to say more, everyone can taste it after seeing it. Still that taste. Such a literate line, 9 times out of 10 it's one of Aizen Sosuke's pretend lines. It's a pity, because Aizen Sosuke hasn't shouted this line yet, it was used by Luo Hao to pretend. It is estimated that from now on, this line will no longer belong to Aizen Sosuke. Tien Ren. Uchiha Madara turned his eyes and landed on Luo Hao. Just looking at each other, his heart felt awe-inspiring. As a master, the existence that climbed up from the pile of dead people in the Sengoku era, he just looked at Luo Hao for a while and came to a conclusion. The one-eyed self and this man face each other, life and death. It is good. I thought that after walking in front of Hashirama, there would be no one to dance with. Who would have thought that someone without the Six Paths bloodline would be ahead of Hashirama and me in his early 20s? Uchiha Madara stared deeply at Luo Hao. Advertisement. As a master, climb to the top of the Jonin world one step at a time, instead of being crazy like Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke. Not only did he feel Luo Hao's strength far surpassing his own in an instant, but at the same time, after realizing that Luo Hao was stronger than himself, his first reaction was not to shrink back, not to be afraid, but to be excited. Luo Hao's strength inspired him instead. Tenjin, I, Madara, recognize you. Uchiha Madara said word by word. Haven't fought yet. Not even momentum, chakras collision. Konoha Dance King said that Luo Hao is an opponent, and he recognizes it. No idea. If you can't beat the opponent, of course you have to admit it. I didn't expect you to be a real person. Hearing this, Luo Hao had a smile on his face. Can you allow me to handle my personal affairs well, and then we can make a difference with you? In return, I can let you enjoy a big show for free. Uchiha Madara didn't flinch, but she wasn't an idiot either. Facing Luo Hao who is far superior to him now, he will naturally not speak rudely, and Zhao Dezhao will not pretend at will. For him, all he needs to do now is to maintain his status as the king of dancers. You have to pretend, you have to dance, and at least you have to get your eyes back. Sure. Luo Hao shrugged. Why did he wake up Uchiha Obito so that he can break free from Uchiha Madara's technique faster, wake up, and restore himself? Wasn't it just to see how the Uchiha Obito and Uchiha Madara pairing would end up? After all, he has seen and fought 4 battles. But I have never seen the battle between Reincarnation Madara and Six Paths Obito. These two people want to fight life and death, separate the high and low, and finally leave the stronger one to please yourself, isn't it more interesting? Advertisement. Chapter 355 Give you a reason you can't lose. Advertisement. Obito. Luo Hao thought for a while, then looked at Uchiha Obito. How? Uchiha Obito looked at Luo Hao warily. He has personally experienced Luo Hao's strength. That is an existence that even the Ten-Tails Jinchuriki can't compete with. It's nothing, I just don't want to see a battle with disparity in strength. Instead, I want to make this battle more interesting. Luo Hao slowly raised his right hand and made a seal. A figure in the void appeared out of thin air, and then quickly became real and vivid. When Obito, who was originally vigilant, saw this figure appear, his expression immediately became extremely exciting. Transform from vigilance, horror, excitement, ecstasy all the way. Lin, Uchiha Obito looked at Nohara Rin who appeared out of nowhere and was revived, and murmured involuntarily. What a terrifying power. Without the blood of six paths, he could easily trample on the cycle of life and death. Bring back a ninja who has been dead for so many years at will. Although Uchiha Madara clearly perceives 443 that Luo Hao is stronger than himself, but this clarity is not real enough and difficult to measure. But now, from Luo Hao's ability to simply resurrect the dead, he can feel the oppression of ultimate. Although he hasn't played against Luo Hao yet, he already has a certain understanding of Luo Hao's strength. Powerful, incredibly powerful, even taking back a pair of Rinagons is far from enough to see in front of him. To dance with Tenin, at least you have to evolve from Reincarnation Madara to Six Paths Madara. Whether it's for Project Tsuki no Mi, or for fighting Luo Hao, Uchiha Obito is a stumbling block that must be overcome. Advertisement. Only by kicking this stumbling block and becoming Ten Tails Jinchuriki can he dance with the man in front of him. Obito must die. While Uchiha Madara sentenced Uchiha Obito to death in his heart, he was also a little puzzled. He didn't expect that the pawns he cultivated all those years ago would become his stumbling block at the critical moment. Even though he has been resurrected and has the ability to settle all this, he still feels very uncomfortable. You, Tien Ren, what do you mean? Uchiha Obito lost his mind for a moment before recovering. He didn't suspect that Luo Hao had ulterior motives for Nohara Lin. Not to mention that Luo Hao and Nohara Lin are basically two categories. Just because Rin Nohara is a member of Konoha Shinobi, there is no reason for Luo Hao to be against her. It's just to add a little bit of color to you, so that you can dance harder. A one-sided battle is not what I want to see. Aren't you going to fight Uchiha Madara? Then I will give you a reward and give you a reason not to lose. With a flick of Luo Hao's fingers, Nohara Lin disappeared instantly. Where did you send Lin? Uchiha Obito suddenly became anxious. He could see that although Nohara Lin hadn't woken up yet, she had already resurrected. For him with a glassy heart, Nohara Lin is almost equal to everything. Seeing the lively Nohara Lin appearing in front of him, and then disappearing Daba within a few seconds, he was more anxious than anyone else. She's just an ordinary Konoha shinobi, keep her here, you want her to die again. Luo Hao's words made Uchiha Obito instantly quiet. Is this what you're talking about? Uchiha Obito took a deep breath. He already understood Luo Hao's intentions. Advertisement. Good. Whether you win or lose, Rin Nohara will live to live in Konoha again as a Konoha shinobi owner. The only difference is, can you protect her yourself? Don't think too much, she's a member of the Konoha shinobi group and I don't treat her any differently. What did she do before resurrection? I will let her do what after resurrection. Mission must be performed. Luo Hao's words made Uchiha Obito's face change drastically. Execute the mission. A picture suddenly appeared in Uchiha Obito's mind. That night of thunderstorms, Hitaki Kakashi swings Reikiri through Rin Nohara's body. This scene just happened to fall in his eyes. Do not. Although Lin came back alive, the ninja world is too dangerous. Kakashi and Namikaze Minato cannot be expected to protect Rin at all. Only I can protect Lin. Uchiha Obito roared frantically in his heart. At this moment, his will became stronger than ever. He will survive the battle with Uchiha Madara. He's going to beat Uchiha Madara. After witnessing the scene of Nohara Lin dying in front of him, or being stabbed to death by Hitaki Kakashi, he can't trust anyone. Only by protecting Nohara Lin himself can he feel at ease. If he were to let Nohara Lin be left in this crisis-ridden ninja world, then he would not feel at ease even if he died. This is really a reason not to lose. Uchiha Obito took a deep look at Luo Hao, and under Uchiha Madara's surprised gaze, he suddenly reached out and dug out the Sharingan. In his eye socket. Advertisement. Chapter 356 Self-Developed Skin, Obito's New Eyes. Advertisement. Obito. What's wrong with him? Uchiha Madara looked at Uchiha Obito in surprise. Mangekyo Sharingan is naturally not a powerful ability for a strong person at his level, but Uchiha Obito did not activate Rinnegan after all. Even the one and only Rinnegan is his too. At this time, one more Mangekyo Sharingan, plus 10 Tails Jinchuriki's increase in Mangekyo's pupil power, will definitely not be worse than the eternal Mangekyo Riding Wheel Eye. Even if this Mangekyo Sharingan does not belong to him, it can still exert great power. At least it's much better than digging up this Mangekyo Sharingan. This lottery is really not in vain. Compared to Uchiha Madara who looks so dumbfounded. Luo Hao already understood the moment Uchiha Obito dug out his eyes. Although Uchiha Obito is not the reincarnation of Indra, nor the reincarnation of Ashura, but he is Dao Jinchuriki. The resurrection of Nohara Lin not only made his will stronger than ever before, but also made him have a higher control over 10 Tails. It actually brought about such a change. Thinking of this, the corners of Luo Hao's mouth could not help but curl up. Except for Kagayaji and Sage of Six Paths, 10 Tails has basically never been fully controlled by others. Even Sage of Six Paths is no exception. The only one who has mastered 10 Tails completely is Kagaya who ate the fruit of the God Tree. As for the Uchiha Madara and Uchiha Obito behind, it goes without saying. But now, after Uchiha Obito became more determined, the control and integration of 10 Tails has obviously improved a category. Reached a height that he didn't even have in the original time and space. In the original time and space, his will was not strong, so he could barely avoid being swallowed by 10 Tails' will. But now, he has reached a point where he can control 10 Tails very well. This change is almost equivalent to stepping from ordinary Jinchuriki to perfect Jinchuriki. Advertisement. Under the gaze of Luo Hao with relish, after Uchiha Obito gouged out his eyes, his right hand slowly moved away from the empty eye sockets. With his eyes blinking slightly, a black eye with a white background appeared out of thin air. When he blinked again, a blood-red Rinnegan appeared out of nowhere in the eye socket. Rinnegan. How is this possible? Uchiha Madara exclaimed. It took him years to evolve the Rinnegan. What about Uchiha Obito? When he lost his original eyes, a blood-red Rinnegan grew out of nothing. This almost broke his mind. Why does everyone go out from the spring, and I only have a small iron sword, but you bring your own broken army? What happened? Hitaki Kakashi in the distance opened the Mangekyo Sharingan belonging to Uchiha Obito in surprise. Obito's eyes are in his hands. Is it possible to independently develop such a thing as skin? I see. Nara opened Rinnegan, observed Uchiha Obito carefully for a while, and then showed a hint of understanding on his face. Although he wears Rinnegan skin like Uchiha Madara, his pupil power is much stronger than Uchiha Madara's. This is a Rinnegan that rivals Sage of Six Paths. Naturally see more. This guy Obito has a better harness on 10 Tails power. With the power of 10 Tails, he grows a round eye of his own. Hitaki Tsukumo knows everything about Uchiha Obito at a glance. Although the fruit of the sacred tree was eaten by Kagaya, after absorbing so many tailed beasts, 10 Tails still possesses extremely terrifying power. Advertisement. Zero seeking flowers. It's just this power. The 10 Tails Jinchuriki of all dynasties can only use it as a tail beast or a ninja tool. There is no way like Kagaya Hime ate the fruit of the god tree, turning the power of God into her own blood. But now, Uchiha Obito has done it. If it is said that Kagaya-ji started the reincarnation Sharingan by eating the most essence and most powerful fruit of the sacred tree. And Uchiha Obito fused the power of the god tree to open this blood-red Rinnegan. 0. As this, my Rinnegan. With a thought in Uchiha Obito's mind, a river flowed out of the ground instantly. Through the river, he saw a Rinnegan in his eye socket, which was different from Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara's Rinnegan is purple, and his Rinnegan is blood red. Although there is only one, with the power of my current 10 Tails Jinchuriki, it is enough to deal with Madara. Feeling the powerful pupil power of the blood-red Rinnegan, Uchiha Obito not only became confident, but even started to float. Compared to the purple Rinnegan that only belongs to Uchiha Madara and not his own, this blood-red Rinnegan can be fully controlled by him and exert all the power of the pupil. After all, things like eyes are original. Sharingan is so blind. So does Rinnegan. 10 Tails. Probably why it became 10 Tails Jinchuriki. So Obito can open a Rinnegan. Uchiha Madara doesn't see as clearly as Hitaki Tsukumo and Nara, but he's not stupid either. A little thought makes it clear what happened to Uchiha Obito's change. Advertisement. Chapter 357 Can you dance with one eye? Advertisement. Obito will have such a change, in addition to the relationship with 10 Tails, it is also because of you. Uchiha Madara thought of this, and his eyes shifted to Luo Hao. He knows. The appearance of Nohara Lin is an extremely critical opportunity. Although 10 Tails has the ability to make Uchiha Obito grow new eyes, Uchiha Obito itself is not qualified to trigger this ability. Obviously, Luo Hao revived Nohara Rin and stimulated Uchiha Obito, so this bloody Rinnegan appeared successfully. Can you dance with one eye? Luo Hao and Uchiha Madara looked at each other. Obito was shaped by me. 693. So what if he becomes 10 Tails Jinchuriki, even if he grows new eyes? Even if you give him two Rinnegans, one purple and one red, he won't be able to dance in front of me. How arrogant is Uchiha Madara? The only one he has been able to take seriously over the years is Senju Hashirama. He faces Senju Hashirama squarely, not only because of the strength of the other party, but also because of the reincarnation of Indra and Ashura, and the bond established by the struggle between the two of them since childhood. If it is said that Senju Hashirama made him pay attention to him because of his fetters, and Luo Hao because of his strength, then Uchiha Obito was not taken seriously by him at all. What about 10 Tails Jinchuriki? What about Rinnegan? This kind of power that seems to reach the sky in one step is indeed powerful, but in his opinion, it is just aloft in the sky. To use the words of Dopo Shiji, it is fighting Chi Vain. Torturing dishes is not a problem, if you want to beat a master of the same level, or even a stronger existence, you are courting death. It seems that you are determined. Then I don't have to give you a pat on the back like Uchiha Obito did. After all, for you, defeating Obito, taking back Rinnegan, and becoming 10 Tails Jinchuriki is the biggest prize in itself. After Luo Hao finished speaking, the person disappeared in a flash, and he came to the top of the Shinigami tree. The owner of the second sacred tree may even be the planter. Advertisement. You are indeed ahead of me. But so what? I will catch up. Just look down on the clouds first. Immediately I will be on eye level with you. Uchiha Madara looked up in the direction of the Shinigami tree. He looked at Luo Hao sitting on the top of the Shinigami tree. There was no fear in his eyes, only yearning and fighting spirit. Why can he become Konoha Dance King as famous as Shinigami King Aizen Sosuke? Because the King of Kings and the King of Dance have one thing in common. The existence sitting on the clouds is not only to look up to, but also to chase and even surpass. Aizen wants to replace the Soul King. Uchiha Madara wants to be the second sage of six paths, casting infinite Tsukuyomi. In a sense, the King of Bai and the King of Dance are the same kind of person. I'm waiting for you. Meeting Uchiha Madara's eyes, Luo Hao smiled lightly. Want to make eye contact with him? It is too simple to think. Even if you get the divine tree, you are nothing more than that. After all, the essence of the sacred tree, the most powerful fruit of the sacred tree has long been eaten by Otsutsuki Kagaya. Even if you have obtained the complete divine tree, if you lack the fruit of the divine tree, you still have no right to look up to yourself. It's a pity that Uchiha Madara can't touch these things at all. Master Hokage, you know how to play big, right? After all, it is also a divine tree. Hatake Tsukumo appeared next to Luo Hao. But he doesn't dare to sit cross-legged on the Shinigami tree like Luo Hao, just flying in the air. 0. Advertisement. After all, he had sensed a warning from the Shinigami tree when he flew over. This is to remind him not to sit on himself. For the Shinigami tree, which is endowed with complete wisdom, emotions, and consciousness by Luo Hao, and not as ignorant as the sacred tree of the ninja world, the only creator who can sit on her is Luo Hao. Others, as long as they make such a move, they will probably be rewarded with a tailed beast bomb before they start to act. Fine. Enjoy this great show. After all, the climax and the end are not far away. Luo Hao shook his head. Come back. Danger. This is what happens with waves. But is he wandering? Obviously not. Even Kagaya-ji, sage of six paths, are nothing in front of him. Let alone Uchiha Madara. Even if Uchiha Madara becomes Ten Tails Jinchuriki, and even eats the fruit of the sacred tree, in his eyes, he is no more than you. The Shinigami tree and the sacred tree seem to be a word difference, and they seem to be the same species, but in fact there is a big difference between the two. 2.8 No one knows this except the Shinigami tree itself and him who ate the fruit of the Shinigami tree. Even Tsunade, even Hatake Tsukumo, those who received Luo Hao's blood succession thought that the Shinigami tree is the same as the sacred tree in the ninja world. Even if there is a difference, it is also a difference. But is the Shinigami tree that was born just after burying all the spirits of Jinglingting and absorbing countless spirits really the same as the sacred tree of the ninja world? Obviously not. The climax, the epilogue. Isn't Uchiha Madara a real meal? Naruto, who also followed, heard the words for a long time and couldn't help thinking secretly. Advertisement. Chapter 358 The King of Dance is about to dance. Advertisement. It seems that it is. If Uchiha Obito or Uchiha Madara is a meal, then Luo Hao won't let them fight. Put on a wave directly in front of the two of them, and then clean it up. But now, Luo Hao is obviously still having fun. Didn't intend to pretend at all. Aside from the fact that Uchiha Madara and Uchiha Obito don't qualify, it's clearly not what he wants for dinner. So, there are still people hiding behind Uchiha Madara and Uchiha Obito. Who is this person? Could it be the Sage of Six Paths? Naruto is more powerful than Hatake Tsukumo with the same configuration. What a brain. He's still above Hatake Tsukumo in this kind of thing. You've been waiting for that big hand. Thinking that there might be a big hand hidden behind Uchiha 30 Wave Madara and Uchiha Obito, Nara Shikahisa couldn't help but look at Luo Hao. You should still remember what I told you back then. When I helped you at the beginning, it was for you to help me in the future. You don't have to worry about the resurrection now. All you have to do now is to hand over my eyes and the tail that doesn't belong to you. Uchiha Madara said lightly. Why does he despise Uchiha Obito? Because Uchiha Obito is nothing without 10 tails. But he, 10 tails or not, is still the strongest of the Uchiha clan. It's still the Konoha dancer. Advertisement. Unfortunately, I have no intention of repaying you in this way. Uchiha Obito naturally knew that Uchiha Madara had ulterior motives in saving himself. Now listening to Uchiha Madara admitting it himself, he understood immediately. In all likelihood, Madara has tampered with her body. I am one of his pawns to resurrect him. But all this is meaningless. From the moment he became Ten Tails Jinchuriki, any jutsu left by Uchiha Madara in his body was wiped out. I need something from Uchiha Madara. If you don't give it, I won't take it myself. Uchiha Madara has a cold drink. The imposing manner that belongs to Konoha Dance King is undoubtedly revealed at this moment. Zhang Chulin. Here he is here. The King of Dance is about to dance. Whitebeard. Is this the Konoha dancer who is as famous as Aizen? Acedes. As famous as Aizen. Then I'll see how he pretends. Aizen Sosuke. If he can survive today, I believe that I can have a drink with this dancing king when I go to the ninja world. Unfortunately, I can tell from his face that he is a short-lived species. I guess he does not have the blessing and I have become a confidant. Through the live broadcast, I saw that Uchiha Madara was about to dance, and many skirt friends' eyes lit up. After all, this is Konoha Dance King. The existence that is as famous as Aizen Sosuke, the Shinigami King. On pretend is definitely a must. What's more, regardless of Uchiha Madara's pretend skills and level, his battle with Uchiha Obito alone is very attractive to them, and it's worth watching seriously. Some things are gone. It's no longer yours. Naturally, Uchiha Obito didn't know that the confrontation between him and Uchiha Madara was being broadcast live. Now his mind is on killing Uchiha Madara. Only by killing Uchiha Madara, Ten Tails and Rinnegan will be permanently his. Advertisement. With these two things, he can protect Nohara-Lin forever. Even though Konoha wiped out 4 of the 5 great ninja villages, he still has a paranoid attack. Although the victim was not himself, but Nohara-Rin, he still firmly believes that to protect Nohara-Rin, both Rinnegan and Ten Tails are indispensable. What's mine is mine. You dare to reach out, I forgot your hand. Uchiha Madara is indeed the Konoha dance king. At the moment of dancing, all kinds of high-quality lines come immediately. Not as literate as Aizen Sosuke's lines, but has a haki of its own. Universal pull. Uchiha Madara stretched out his hand to grab it, and a powerful attraction instantly enveloped Uchiha Madara Obito, wanting to pull him over. You're not alone in Rinnegan. I have 372. And I have 2 Rinnegans. Uchiha Obito snorted coldly, and then grabbed Uchiha Madara with his left hand. Both cast universal pull. However, the power of the universal pull cast by the two is as powerful as the planetary devastation cast by Nagato. It wasn't just each other that got caught, it was the ground around them too. The land with a radius of hundreds of meters instantly cracked and shattered, and then countless rocks were pulled up from the ground under the action of gravity, and flew towards each other together. There is nothing more that doesn't belong to you. Uchiha Madara made a seal quietly with his left hand. What is this? When Uchiha Obito was about to cast the Shinra Sky sign, he suddenly felt a hot feeling coming from the purple Rinnegan. The moment this feeling emerged, it quickly spread to the brain, like a raging fire, as if it was going to burn his brain. Damn it. That B********** D Madara did something in Rinnegan. Where Uchiha Obito doesn't know what's going on yet. Advertisement. Chapter 359 Madara. Obito, just because you want to dance in front of me. Advertisement. After becoming Ten Tails Jinchuriki, any jutsu that Uchiha Madara had left in his body was indeed swept away by the power of Ten Tails. As long as he is Ten Tails Jinchuriki for a day, these spells will not work on him. Therefore, Uchiha Madara in the original time and space can only be pulled out of the tail beast in 6 paths Obito, no longer after Ten Tails Jinchuriki activates the means left in his body, trying to control Obito to resurrect himself. But there are always exceptions. Uchiha Madara thought long ago that Uchiha Obito would betray him and become Ten Tails Jinchuriki before him, so how could he be unprepared? Normal spells are useless for Ten Tails Jinchuriki. So he messed with Rinnegan. After all, Obito without Rinnegan cannot become Ten Tails Jinchuriki without his Rinnegan. As long as his Rinnegan is installed, even if Uchiha Obito betrays, fighting against him is dead in the end. That's what Uchiha Obito is at this time. The technique Uchiha Madara left behind in Rinnegan was for Uchiha Obito who would become Ten Tails Jinchuriki. Even after Uchiha Obito becomes Ten Tails Jinchuriki, he is immune to all spells except immortal spells, but he still cannot ignore the spells that Uchiha Madara left in his Rinnegan. Facing this sudden attack, Uchiha Obito's brain was not only in jeopardy, but even the Shinluo Tianjung that was about to be performed was interrupted instantly. Obito, just because you want to dance in front of me. Uchiha Madara watched Uchiha Obito being toyed with by herself in the applause, and a sneer of disdain flashed in her monocular eyes. That's the downside of lofts in the sky. Relying on the eyes of others to reach the sky, then you must be prepared to be restricted. Taking your own things and trying to deal with yourself. Uchiha Obito is simply being stupid. At this point, in the eyes of Uchiha Madara, Obito is already a dead man. Advertisement. That's right, even if 6 paths Obito becomes Ten Tails Jinchuriki, it's a dead man. This really isn't a battle of the same magnitude. Nara Shikajiu shook his head. In terms of strength, Obito is no worse than Uchiha Madara. But the gap between the two is not just as simple as strength. One step to the sky, the attic in the sky, this is a fatal flaw for Obito. Hatake Tsukumo shook his head. What's up with Uchiha Obito's power? He has figured it out. It's all about the two. First, Uchiha Madara. Second, the Divine Tree. Before meeting Uchiha Madara, who didn't know what level Uchiha Obito was? Uchiha Obito is really strong, not by blackening, but by the cultivation of Uchiha Madara. But even with the cultivation of Uchiha Madara, the Obito of the original time and space is the same. Faced with a terminally ill Uchiha Itachi, I am afraid, it is really hard to say whether I can win. Aside from the sacred tree, the power of Uchiha Obito basically comes from Uchiha Madara. At this time, the Rinnegan who still held Uchiha Madara went to beat him, it would be no wonder if he was not eaten to death by Uchiha Madara. Of course, Uchiha Obito is now a Ten Tails Jinchuriki, and even grew a Rinnegan. Advertisement. These are forces that do not belong to Uchiha Madara. Under normal circumstances, you can compete with Uchiha Madara. But the most terrifying destruction does not come from outside, but from inside. From the moment Uchiha Madara's Rinnegan is installed, Uchiha Obito is doomed to have no chance to use the power of the sacred tree. Just playing tricks, Uchiha Madara is enough to eat Uchiha Obito to death. Zhang Chulin. Good job. Sure enough, Master Madara is still Master Madara. Aizen Sosuke. Worthy of being the Konoha dance king who can be as famous as me, he has 2 brushes in strength, means, and pretend. Acedes. Backquote this Konoha dancer really has something. Whitebeard. Laozi thought the battle would be evenly matched, but he didn't expect it to be one-sided at the beginning. Cheomong. If there are no accidents, this Obito is over. Although the battle reached a climax from the very beginning, even to the point of life and death, due to the amount of information in it, Aizen Sosuke and others not only did not feel that it was not enough to watch, but they were also exciting. In their eyes, fighting is not just about fighting against each other, the special effects of each other are wonderful. The fleeting instant kill, the shockingly talented counterattack, coupled with a couple of high-quality pretend lines, and the strong style of his own, of course, must be the support of good looks. Wang Hao. This kind of battle is also extremely moving. This battle of Uchiha Madara versus Uchiha Obito is just that. Although there are not too many special effects, there is no you coming and going, there is no earth-shattering, and the end is almost reached in an instant, the degree of excitement is definitely 5 stars. You're done, Obito. Uchiha Madara looked at Uchiha Obito with indifferent eyes. That look is like looking at the dead without any difference. Under that indifferent but full of disdainful voice, he flashed in front of Uchiha Obito, grabbed the Rinnegan in Uchiha Obito's eye socket with one hand, and completed the seal with lightning speed with the other hand, ready to send it to Uchiha Obito the last wave of lore. Advertisement. Chapter 360 You are not worthy to be my Madara's opponent. Advertisement. 6 Paths 10 Tails Coffin Seal Solution. Although Uchiha Madara has never done 10 Tails Jinchuriki, but he knows most of 10 Tails Jinchuriki's abilities like the back of his hand. He knows that ordinary ninjutsu and genjutsu cannot shake the body of 10 Tails Jinchuriki. Only senjutsu, taijutsu, and ninjutsu with the power of 6 paths can harm the body of 10 Tails Jinchuriki. I had already thought about how to deal with Uchiha Obito's Uchiha Madara at the moment of the shot, but Isshin used it secondhand. With one hand, he dug out his own Rinnegan on Uchiha Obito's eye socket like lightning, and with the other hand, he used a ninjutsu that he didn't teach Uchiha Obito at the beginning. 6 Paths 10 Tails Coffin can absorb the sacred tree and become 10 Tails Jinchuriki. And 6 Paths 10 Tails Coffin Seal Jia can untie the seal of 10 Tails Jinchuriki and release the sacred tree in its body. If it is 6 Paths Obito in a normal state, it would be difficult for Uchiha Madara to release the sacred tree in Uchiha Obito's body even with 6 Paths 10 Tails Coffin Seal solution. But now Uchiha Obito has been hit by the technique he sealed inside Rinnegan, which is specially aimed at 10 Tails Human Pillar 010. At this time, not only the brain is facing the risk of being destroyed, but even chakra is difficult to mobilize. At this time, it is the weakest bed in 6 Paths Obito. This trick is of course very useful against 10 Tails Jinchuriki's 6 Paths 10 Tails Coffin solution. Without my Rinnegan, without the sacred tree, even if you grow a Rinnegan with the power of the sacred tree, so what? Compared with me, you are nothing more than an insignificant firefly. This firefly also wants to compete with my bright moon. It's simply overwhelming. Uchiha Madara looked at the 10 tails that were pulled out bit by bit, his face was full of awe-inspiring confidence in the overall situation. How about being a 10 tails Jinchuriki? What about growing a new Rinnegan? A chess piece is only a chess piece after all, no matter how much you jump around, it is impossible to escape the chess player's control. Hateful. Advertisement. Dafi, I'm actually defeated. Uchiha Obito looked very ugly. He thought a lot about the outcome of his fight with Uchiha Madara. It's not that he didn't think he would be defeated by Uchiha Madara. But what he never expected was that he would lose so badly and so quickly. If he hadn't coveted Uchiha Madara's Rinnegan, he wouldn't have lost so badly. At least he can compete with it. Thinking of strengthening his own strength and weakening Uchiha Madara's, Uchiha Obito actually installed Uchiha Madara's Rinnegan in his eye socket. Isn't this a suicide attempt? Even Uchiha Itachi knows how to play in Uchiha Sasuke's eyes. Let alone Uchiha Madara. As his most important Rinnegan, Uchiha Madara, the king of dancing, doesn't know how many followers he left behind. Stop struggling, Obito. You don't deserve to be my opponent at all. From the very beginning you have only one destiny and identity. Peace. It doesn't matter if you don't repay me, and I don't need you to repay. Now all I need is to get back what's mine. After Uchiha Madara completely pulled 10 tails from Uchiha Obito, his eyes fell on Uchiha Obito's Rinnegan. Nice eyes, but it's a pity that they were wasted on you. But you are also worthy of pride, at least you can become 10 tails Jinchuriki before you die, and open your own Rinnegan. For the sake of dancing hard in front of me and pleasing me, you can take this Rinnegan down to meet the Hokages of all ages. Don't look at Uchiha Madara pretending to be good, but in fact he is thinking about Obito's eyes. Advertisement. After all Rinnegan, nothing is easy. Each one has its unique pupil technique. However, eyes are the best only for you. With the lessons learned from Uchiha Obito using his own eyes and pouring them in his own hands, plus he only has 2 eye sockets, and it will be full after installing his own eyes. Even if I took Uchiha Obito's Rinnegan, there is no use for it, so I put on a look of disdain to set off and improve my own style. Let yourself pretend to force a huge sublimation. This guy Madara has something. The means, strength, and pretend are all available. Unfortunately, as Aizen Sosuke said, it is a short-lived species from the looks of it. Quote. After taking a panoramic view of the battle between Uchiha Madara and Uchiha Obito, Luo Hao also had to admit it. There is indeed something about Konoha Dance King who can be called Madara Lord. In an instant, and without breaking a sweat, 6 paths Obito was taken. Let Uchiha Obito have no chance of a comeback. If you can avoid Black Zetsu's heart and soul, then the future is limitless. Unfortunately, although he is a chess player, he can't hold back that Black Zetsu is a great director. Madara. After being drawn out of Jinchuriki, Uchiha knew that he was cold when he took the king. Thinking that after his failure, he would no longer be able to protect Nohara Lin, he was extremely annoyed and indignant. At this moment, he regretted it so much. If I knew I shouldn't have used Uchiha Madara's eyes. He will never lose without being caught by Uchiha Madara's tricks in the eyes left behind. Advertisement. Chapter 361 Can Uchiha's fire style burn people to death? Advertisement. Regret Uchiha Obito. I thought keeping Uchiha Madara's eyes was a weakening of the opponent. Unexpectedly, it became my own reminder. Unfortunately. Regret is the most meaningless thing in the world. No matter how much he regrets, he can't change the situation that he was defeated by Uchiha Madara in the blink of an eye. You are of the Uchiha clan. It is also the one with the highest achievement in the Uchiha clan besides me. Even Izuna is far inferior to your achievements. In a way you're still ahead of me. That being the case, then I will let you die under the pupil art of the Uchiha clan. It has to be said that Uchiha Madara, who is very aggressive, chooses to be the same as his Madara even if he kills someone. He looked down at Uchiha Obito, who had become extremely weak after losing 10 tails, and quickly formed seals with both hands, and then opened his mouth. Fire style extinguish fire. The raging flames roared towards Uchiha Obito in an instant. In the blink of an eye, Uchiha Obito is like a lonely boat on the sea, instantly engulfed by the ruthless fire waves. Can Uchiha's fire style burn people? Luo Hao saw this scene, but there was an incomprehensible playful expression on the corner of his mouth. Fire style stuff, especially the fire style from the Uchiha clan seems to have never burned anyone. Even the more powerful the fire style, the harder it is to burn people to death. The strongest fire style like Amaterasu is reduced to a bleak situation where they can only burn crows and ninja tools. In ninja world, Uchiha's fire style seems to be cursed by Sage of Six Paths. Never burn people to death. And the stronger the fire style, the stronger the curse. Advertisement. Not only can it not kill people, but it can only burn ninja tools, crows, or use it to destroy corpses and traces. Six Paths 10 Tails Coffin. After finishing Uchiha Obito in a vigorous manner, Uchiha Madara is afraid that the night will be long and dreamy. Seal the 10 tails drawn from Uchiha Obito's body for the first time. In an instant, 10 tails, who was free just now, fell into the situation of being sealed again. The difference is just moving from the belly of Uchiha Obito to the body of Uchiha Madara. Bang! The moment 10 tails was completely sucked into Uchiha Madara's body, the vast and boundless chakra erupted loudly. A majestic airflow visible to the naked eye rolled up in the void. Although it is also 10 tails Jinchuriki, Uchiha Madara's popularity as 10 tails Jinchuriki is far greater than that of Uchiha Obito. Under the shrouding of the majestic chakra, Uchiha Madara's long hedgehog-like hair was completely bleached, and the 10 couple outfits on his body and Senju Hashirama also turned into a white trench coat from Sage of Six Paths. At the same time, 8 truth-seeking balls forming a circle appeared behind him. A pitch-black Six Paths Zen staff appeared in the left hand. Whether it is the mighty chakra, or this cool appearance, all of them will tell the truth to everyone present. He has grown up. From reincarnation Madara to Six Paths Madara. Although he has just become a 10 tails Jinchuriki, he still can't fully control the full power of 10 tails, let alone a perfect Jinchuriki, but one thing is for sure. His strength is more than 10 times stronger than when he was reincarnation Madara. When he fully controls all the power of 10 tails, and then recovers her way, 8 tails, and 9 tails, his strength will definitely rise to a higher level. 3-tailed beasts are missing that much. But it doesn't matter anymore. 0 for flowers. When the man in front of him is dealt with, those 3-tailed beasts will still be within reach. Uchiha Madara took a closer look at the 10 tails in her body, and immediately found that the 10 tails were not complete, at least 3 tail beasts were missing. Sorry to keep you waiting. Advertisement. Does my appearance satisfy you? Thinking of this, Uchiha Madara temporarily put aside the matter of the tailed beast, and then flew up to Luo Hao to confront him. Satisfied is not enough, but at least it's better than Obito. Luo Hao said lightly. Six Paths Madara wants to please him. Laugh. Not to mention Six Paths Madara, even Sage of Six Paths, even Kagayaji who learned to fight is far from enough in front of him. Only when Kagayaji's family of 3 stand side by side can he catch his eye a little bit. Yes, then I will let you change this view. Gone. Each one became a common problem of 10 tails Jinchuriki. Even Uchiha Madara is no exception. Before Uchiha Obito became 10 tails Jinchuriki, he thought he could fight Luo Hao. The same is true for the current Uchiha Madara. Also mastering the divine tree, he didn't think he would lose to Luo Hao. Okay, provided you can do it. Luo Hao said casually. Show your Six Paths wand, Tenon. Uchiha Madara's eyes burst out with fiery fighting spirit. Facing Luo Hao in front of him, his attitude is completely different from that of Uchiha Obito. Uchiha Obito is nothing to him. 3 or 2 hands and feet can solve it. But Luo Hao in front of him is walking ahead of himself, walking in Hashirama, and even walking in the top 8 of everyone. Advertisement. Chapter 362 Luo Hao Mahawk. This fruit knife is enough to let you see the world. Advertisement. Knowing that Luo Hao has grown up to this day without the blood of Sage of Six Paths, he even made a sacred tree. Faced with such an achievement, even Uchiha Madara, who was drifting away, is still impressed. But it was precisely because he was amazed by Luo Hao's achievements that he wanted to defeat him even more. Six Paths Wand. When Luo Hao heard that Uchiha Madara wanted to show his Six Paths Zen staff, he was slightly startled at first, then he seemed to think of something, turned his head to Hitaki Tsukumo who was not far away and said, Uncle Yun, lend me your knife. Quote question mark. Don't you have Zanpakuto yourself? Hitaki Tsukumo knows that Luo Hao has a variety of power systems, 667. Among them, the Shinigami power system comes with Zanpakuto. That is a weapon that is more useful than any magic weapon in the ninja world. However, although he wondered why Luo Hao left the Zanpakuto unused and asked himself to borrow the sword instead, he still pulled out the White Fang short sword from his back neatly. Not this one. Luo Hao saw that Hitaki Tsukumo wanted to lend himself the White Fang short sword, and immediately interrupted him. I only have this knife. Hitaki Tsukumo froze. Which one of Kisami's did you chop off? Luo Hao explained. It turned out to be that one. Hitaki Tsukumo suddenly realized. Feelings from my own family. Fourth Hokage asked himself to borrow a knife not because he was greedy for his own knife, but because he thought his knife was suitable for pretending. After figuring out what Luo Hao was thinking, he immediately threw his fruit knife over. Okay. After Luo Hao took the fruit knife, he turned his head and said to Uchiha Madara. Advertisement. Are you going to fight me with this kid's stuff? Uchiha Madara's expression remained unchanged, but a pair of Rinegons showed a blade-like coldness. In his opinion, Luo Hao is humiliating him. Think about him. Uchiha Madara has been so underestimated since the Sengoku era until now. It fell into the hands of a child, perhaps a child's thing. But if it falls into my hands, it will become your death talisman. Luo Hao waved the fruit knife lightly. Believe it or not, I can hack you to death with a fruit knife. Okay, I'd like to see how you kill me Uchiha Madara with this child's thing. Although Uchiha Madara was extremely angry in his heart, he was very calm on the surface. The frog in the well. This fruit knife is enough to let you see the world. Luo Hao's tone was neither salty nor weak, as if he was stating a natural fact. Zhang Chulin. As this Luo Hao Mahawk. Whitebeard. Boy Luo, won't your conscience hurt? Aizen Sosuke. I suddenly feel like I have a lot to talk about with Dracula Mahawk. Seeds. I guess if the eagle eye sees it, he will come with a knife. Zhang Chulin. Come here with a knife, and sleep forever in the ninja world. None of them doubted that Dracula Mahawk had the courage to come with a knife. But they also did not doubt that if Dracula Mahawk came here with a knife, he would end up buried in the ninja world. Even the black knife was confiscated by Luo Hao in minutes to cut fruit. The cruelty of Luo Hao's method, every 10 members in the skirt chat have a deep understanding. Especially Aizen Sosuke who tried to stop Luo Hao pretending to be missed by him, but finally escaped after dying twice in a row. Didn't you see that Aizen Sosuke is much better now? Even if he saw Luo Hao pretending to be cowardly, so that he could not pretend to be coquettish, he would just watch quietly, at most just make a few complaints in the skirt chat, and sometimes even offer to help. Advertisement. 666. 0. It's not that he has no bones, it's that he's been frightened. Let me see the world. When Uchiha Madara heard Luo Hao's words, she couldn't help but burst out again. He is already at the top of the ninja world. The world is so big that he had a panoramic view of it long ago, and even stepped on it with one foot. But now Luo Hao actually said that he is a frog in a well, how can he accept it? Even if you created another sacred tree, you can't say that about me, can you? Clang clang. Facing Uchiha Madara who was rushing towards Chakra, Luo Hao helplessly waved the knife in his hand, and easily caught his Six Paths Zen staff. How is this possible? Uchiha Madara's eyes widened in disbelief. The Six Paths Zen stick in his hand is the truth-seeking ball behind the jade. It belongs to a product, a thing of nature. People without the power of six paths will instantly turn into nothingness if they touch it. Nothing is not possible with 1.6. I said it before. The world is big, open your eyes and see how big the world is. After Luo Hao finished speaking, he lifted the knife in his right hand and slashed lightly. Click. Puff. Under Uchiha Madara's dull gaze, Luo Hao's fruit knife actually chopped off his Six Paths Zen stick, and then pierced into his heart without the slightest smell of fireworks. Humph. Uchiha Madara grunts. Except for Shanjutsu and Body Jutsu, as well as Ninjutsu and Genjutsu with the power of six paths, the body of Ten Tails Jinchuriki, who was almost unshakable by any attack, was pierced by a fruit knife and bled. Advertisement. Chapter 363 Madara, can you dance again? Advertisement. What shocked Uchiha Madara the most was that when he faced Luo Hao's fruit knife, it was like a mortal being pierced by a fruit knife. An indescribable pain and weakness swept through his body and mind, making his body take a few steps back uncontrollably. The taste is unbelievable. Even when he was not a Ten Tails Jinchuriki, his physical strength was no small feat. Not to mention being stabbed by a fruit knife, even if you are beaten by a group of tailed beasts, even if you eat tailed beast bomb from tailed beast bomb, you will still be alive and kicking. But now Luo Hao just stabbed him with a small fruit knife. His Ten Tails Jinchuriki physique, his chakra, and his recovery ability all became decorations. Is this really a fruit knife? Uchiha Madara clutched her wound, staring at Luo Hao with distorted facial features. Fake exchange. Seeing Uchi's 30-wave Madara's disbelieving expression, Luo Hao casually threw the fruit knife over. It's really an ordinary fruit knife. After Uchiha Madara took the fruit knife, he used the Rinnegan to observe it up and down, and then tentatively squeezed it lightly with his right hand. The fruit knife in his palm immediately turned into iron filings. Tsukumo, is there any more? After seeing Uchiha Madara crushing his fruit knife, Luo Hao turned his head and asked Hitaki Tsukumo again. Who would carry so many fruit knives on the battlefield? Hitaki Tsukumo was out of breath. Lu Ju, what about you? Luo Hao looked at Nara Luju. Have you ever seen a general staff with a fruit knife? Nara Shikajiu asked back. Master 4th generation, here it is. Just when Luo Hao was about to ask others to get fruit knives, a shining golden figure rode Susanoo and flew in front of him in a very cool manner, and then handed him a brand new fruit knife. I don't know if it was intentional. The model, size, and size of this fruit knife are one size smaller than the one from Hitaki Tsukumo just now. Advertisement. It is obviously more suitable for pretending. Minato, where did you find it? Luo Hao glanced at Namikaze Minato. Obviously, just giving away a fruit knife is such a cool way, only Namikaze Minato will do this in the ninja world. Have to say, this is indeed a show born for show. I just returned to Konoha with the Flying Thunder God technique and bought it. I have told the owner of the blacksmith shop to ask for the smallest fruit knife. Wind Minato winked, the same way. Well done. After this war is over, I will be your wood style. Luo Hao patted Namikaze Minato's shoulder knowingly. Thank you Hokage-sama. Namikaze Minato had a big smile on his face. Really, in addition to being able to do things and be able to flatter, being a subordinate also needs to understand the preferences and interests of the boss. Only in this way can he skyrocket. This is not. Namikaze Minato is obviously a Sarutobi Hiruzen faction, and even competed with Luo Hao for Hokage before the start. But do you think he was treated poorly? Not bad at all. After Luo Hao took over as Hokage, his status rose instead of falling, and even skyrocketed, becoming the core figure of Luo Hao faction. In comparison, which one of the other Sarutobi Hiruzen factions is not still lying in Konoha's ICU? Even Jiraiya, who had just been discharged from the hospital, was sent back by Ant Snake herself. Advertisement. What about Namikaze Minato? After losing the Hokage battle, he was still reused by Luo Hao, and even became one of the few high-level executives in Konohagakure who were bestowed by Luo Hao. Damn it, I didn't expect Minato to be so good at playing. Hitaki Tsukumo thought to himself. No wonder he competed with Luo Hao for Hokage, but still got along so well. I dare say he understands the boss's mind very well. After Nara saw this scene, she was very impressed with Namikaze Minato. Really, it's not unreasonable that Namikaze Minato can eat so much. It can be reused when following Sarutobi Hiruzen and the others, and the original time and space can even become the 4th Hokage. After following Luo Hao, he was still reused, and was even given a blood inheritance. If you don't have something, how can you mix so vividly? Madara, can you still dance in 337? If not, I can let you take a few breaths. Just when Hitaki Tsukumo and Nara were thinking about finding a time to ask Namikaze Minato about how to be an official, Luo Hao, who had changed to a smaller fruit knife, waved to Uchiha Madara again. It's smaller than the one just now. Uchiha Madara looks extremely ugly. He is not an idiot. After checking the fruit knife that stabbed him just now, and found that it was just an ordinary fruit knife, he realized that the danger is not the fruit knife, but the person who uses the fruit knife. Can stab himself as a 10-tails Jinchuriki with a sparse paring knife. How strong is Luo Hao? How big is the gap between myself and Luo Hao? He's obviously already a little bit desperate. But it's just a matter of fact, it's obviously impossible for Uchiha Madara to retreat from this. At least he won't let Luo Hao pin him down and rub him on the ground a few times, he will never give up. Advertisement. Chapter 364 Dare to be called a great swordsman without cutting a meteorite or two. Advertisement. Do not worry, although the size of this fruit knife is smaller than the one just now. But I find it easier to use. Luo Hao heard Uchiha Madara say that his fruit knife is small, so he said this. When Uchiha Madara heard this, not only was she not happy, but her face turned even darker. What does this mean? That's not to say Uchiha Madara's paring knife was too powerful against him. You must use a smaller paring knife. Tengai Shinsei. Uchiha Madara, who was holding a breath in his heart, quickly closed the seal without saying a word. The moment he formed a seal, a blue Susanoo emerged from his body. This Susanoo started making mudras in sync with his hands. At the moment when the printing was completed, there was a roar above the clouds. The big clouds, no, even the sky seemed to have something falling down, smashing the sky into a sinkhole. Immediately afterwards, under the amazed but fearless eyes of many Konoha shinobi fans, a huge and boundless meteorite, bigger than most of the islands in the One Piece world, fell from the sky. There's something. Uchiha Madara is much better than Obito after becoming 10-tails Jinchuriki. Nara Luju and Hitaki Tsukumo looked at each other and decisively flashed away. What Namikaze Minato did just now has taught the two of them a lot. This is the big guys pretend moment. Although the two of us stand here as a backdrop for the green leaves, they will more or less steal the limelight from the boss. If it is other Hokage, facing Tengai Shinsei, of course they cannot run, and they must stay here to help. Otherwise, it will definitely be missed, and more small shoes will be worn in the future. Advertisement. For example, Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen, they dare to walk, and they will never run out of small shoes in the future. But Luo Hao is in charge, so they don't have to worry about it. Boss pretend, they are definitely right. Aren't you going to play fruit knife? Aren't you going to show me the world with this smaller paring knife? Come, I'd like to see how you face it with a fruit knife. Uchiha Madara was floating in the void, pointing at the falling meteorite that shattered the sky and shattered the sky. Zhang Chulin. I can already imagine how exciting Madara's expression will be next. Acedes. 9 out of 10 times, this guy Luo Hao wants to settle with a Whitebeard. Doesn't this idiot know that the swordsmanship system in our world is best at chopping meteorites to pretend? Whitebeard. In Laozi's world, is he ashamed to call himself a great swordsman without crossing 1 or 2 meteorite swords? Aizen Sosuke. No wonder Hokage-sama made the king of dance appear. Dare he want to smash the king of dance? Every member in the skirt chat has watched some at war, and knows every single swordsman in One Piece's power system. Using meteorites to smash swordsmen with successful swordsmanship, isn't this a pretend opportunity presented to them? Each of them has already anticipated the ending of Uchiha Madara. Tengai Shinsei. Well done. Just as Whitebeard and others thought, Luo Hao, holding a fruit knife, saw that Uchiha Madara hit himself with Tengai Shinsei, and laughed immediately. And had a great smile too. But what do all swordsmen who have successfully cultivated the One Piece swordsmanship system most want to meet? Of course, it is an opponent who smashes people with meteorites, shells, and mountains. Isn't this just delivered to your door to let him pretend? Although Luo Hao is holding a fruit knife now, it is also a knife. Advertisement. With a sword in hand, and the swordsmanship of several power systems, what is he if he is not a swordsman? Bang. In order to raise the pretend effect to ultimate, Luo Hao not only used Ping A, but also Ping A without the name of the move. From Uchiha Madara's point of view, to everyone's point of view, he simply swiped a fruit knife at the meteorite above the sky. But for meteorites, this casual wave will disintegrate the huge and boundless meteorite on the spot. And it's not as simple as chopping. Luo Hao's flat hit actually produced the effect of dust escape. With a single blow across the air, Nuoda's meteorite was instantly shattered to the point where it was almost indistinguishable to the naked eye. What? Is this really human swordsmanship? Uchiha Madara is sluggish. Originally, he had prepared his lines. You did a good job with the first one. Just don't know what you're going to do with the second one. But I witnessed with my own eyes that Luo Hao tied with a water, Li Hao fruit knife in the air, and Tengai Shinsei was gone. He knows what to say next. It's embarrassing to say the least. Really, when the first meteorite was shattered and the second meteorite began to fall, Luo Hao was calm again, and the second meteorite instantly followed in the footsteps of the first meteorite. It turned into dust that was hard to distinguish with the naked eye. After chopping up 2 meteorites of Uchiha Madara, he can also proudly claim to be a great swordsman to several worlds. Although his swordsmanship has long surpassed the scope of a great swordsman, but he has not been professionally certified before. Now that he has split the meteorite and passed the certification, it is equivalent to receiving the signboard of the great swordsman. Advertisement. Chapter 365. Will you die if you call the name of a move? Advertisement. Meteorites are great, it's just that the quantity is a bit small. Madara, after becoming 10 Tails Jinchuriki, is this the only thing in your pupil technique? After receiving the signboard and license of the great swordsman, Luo Hao is in a good mood. But his good mood means that Uchiha Madara on the other side is in a bad mood ultimate. No idea. I am a majestic Tengai Shinsei, and the Tengai Shinsei cast by 10 Tails Jinchuriki is far more powerful than the Tengai Shinsei cast by him during Impure World Reincarnation in the original time and space. But the result, such a powerful Tengai Shinsei was wiped out by Luo Hao with a fruit knife. Even with a fruit knife, it's still flat A. That's fine with an A. It's still flat without a move name. How could this make Uchiha Madara feel better? At this time, Uchiha Madara, who was in an extremely depressed mood, finally understood why Black Zetsu tried every means to pull him when he was just resurrected. Feelings, he knew Luo Hao's strength early on. He Ishin stopped himself, totally because he didn't want to be ed if he failed to pretend. Black Zetsu is indeed a good follower. As expected of his will. Yes, at least he thinks so at this moment. This is not an appetizer. The trial game is over. Serve now. Uchiha Madara took a deep breath and tried her best to maintain her dancing king. Advertisement. Of course, he can be beaten to death, but he will never admit that Tengai Shinsei was a temptation just now. In fact, the Tengai Shinsei just now is already his pupil art. The pupil technique has already been sacrificed, so how could it be a simple temptation? After all, among the Uchiha people who play with their eyes, the strongest is always their pupil technique. Even Uchiha Madara, who plays his eyes as far as Rinnegan and Dao Jinchuriki, is no exception. Although he can be said to be at the top of the ninja world in physical skills, illusion, ninjutsu, and swordsmanship, they still pale in comparison to his pupil skills. Don't you think that the number of meteorites I hit you just now is too small? I will fulfill you. Uchiha Madara was afraid that Luo Hao would feel that he was forcing an explanation, so before Luo Hao could speak, he opened his right hand. Planetary devastation. With a cold shout, black balls immediately appeared in his palm. The moment these black balls appeared, they all flew into the air. In an instant, the terrifying gravitational force enveloped the land with a radius of several kilometers. The huge gravitational force not only pulled the earth to cracks and shattered, but even several nearby mountains rose from the ground, turned into many rocks, and condensed into huge meteorites in the void. I'm satisfied now. Uchiha Madara glanced at Luo Hao, and found that Luo Hao still had a neutral expression, and immediately gritted his teeth and waved his right hand. Dozens of meteorites immediately formed a wave of meteorite rain and enveloped Luo Hao. Fire-style planetary devastation. Uchiha Madara, who knew Luo Hao's horror, cast planetary devastation and gave up. At the moment when the Dea meteorite rain fell, he opened his mouth to vomit. After becoming a 10 Tails Jinchuriki, all his skills have been greatly improved. With the huge and boundless chakra as a pillar, he directly spit out a flame that covered the sky with a fire style, covering all the meteorites. Is that all? It's a pity that Uchiha Madara danced so hard to land on Luo Hao's side but only got such a disappointing evaluation. Advertisement. Wait for you to block. Before Uchiha Madara finished speaking, Luo Hao moved. Under the gaze of his pupils constricted to ultimate, Luo Hao picked up a fruit knife from bottom to top. A piercing slash is like a giant dragon sleeping deep in the ground, now waking up to break through the sky. Instantly, the huge and boundless slash has enveloped all the flame meteorites. No earth-shattering explosions, no evenly matched weave. Some are just a flash of white light, then disappear silently. Just one knife, dozens of flame meteorites are gone. This kind of godlike power and unstoppable swordsmanship not only shocked all the Konoha shinobi present, but also shocked Uchiha Madara even more. He couldn't understand why human swordsmanship could be so terrifying. If swordsmanship is really that strong, then he still needs to practice fart ninjutsu, illusion, and need to open an A** hole, so why should he pursue Rinnegan, 10 Tails Jinchuriki? Just practice sword every day. Still flat A. Will you die if you call the name of a move? Uchiha Madara looks ugly ultimate. Being blocked by Luo Hao, he is not surprised, he can accept it. But the ping A hit by the fruit knife, the ping A without a name destroyed his ultimate move, which made him really unable to accept it calmly. I knew it would be like this. At this time, Black Zetsu, who was belatedly arriving, finally arrived. He was not surprised to see that Uchiha Madara managed to take down Uchiha Obito and become 10 Tails Jinchuriki. After all, he was tampered with in Rinnegan, and he knew about it. But Uchiha Madara pretended not to succeed but to be grasped, and he was also not surprised. Advertisement. Chapter 366 Madara, do you have anything more proud of? Advertisement. Why didn't you wait for me? Madara. Isshin was thinking about how to murder Uchiha Madara's Black Zetsu, who knew that just now, Uchiha Madara was thinking about him. Even consider him the best, most heartfelt employee ever. But forget it. Anyway, the value of your existence ends here. If you want to be pinned and rubbed on the ground before Mother comes out, then I won't stop you. Black Zetsu thought about it, but he still couldn't come out to dissuade Uchiha Madara. After all, his strength is too weak. He has to hang on until Kagayaji shows up. And it's still the kind of dog that is careful. Is it gone, Madara? Besides playing with meteorites, do you have anything more proud of? Luo Hao looked at Uchiha Madara with a little disappointment. It's not that he didn't think that Uchiha Madara couldn't please himself at all. But he really didn't expect Uchiha Madara's performance to be so poor. This is the level of dancing so hard. This is indeed stronger than 6 Paths Obito, but there is still a very long distance from the passing line that makes him look a little bit. Of course there is. Uchiha Madara's face darkened, and then he let out an angry roar. Few people noticed that when he roared, several shadows invisible to the naked eye flashed out of his body, and then approached Luo Hao soundlessly. Don't you want to see something more proud? I'll let you see it. Uchiha Madara secretly said, Wheel Tomb Border Prison. Is this what you're talking about? Luo Hao chopped the shadow that rushed in front of him with a backhand knife. Advertisement. Immediately afterwards, while he was talking, he swung his knife leisurely in the courtyard. 3 swords in a row. Dazzling knife light. There is no trace to be found. 3 swords fell, and the remaining 3 shadows collapsed at the same time. So far, the Tomb of Rounds and Border Prison has come to a perfect conclusion. Even the Round Tomb and Border Prison don't work. Uchiha Madara's face turned ugly again. From the beginning of the battle just now, he has gone all out. Every move is his special pupil technique, and after becoming 10 Tails Jinchuriki, it has been greatly increased compared to before. But none of these pupil techniques have made any achievements. Facing Tengai Shinsei, Luo Hao tied it with a fruit knife. Facing the planetary devastation, it is also a fruit knife level A. Facing the Round Tomb and Border Prison, it is still fruit knife level A. Although the knife after knife was not cut on his body, it gave him a feeling that his dignity was chopped to pieces, and his strength was cut to pieces. If you only have this level, then you can retire. Luo Hao's eyes flashed a touch of seriousness. Uchiha Madara is his enemy, since he is an enemy, and he is still unable to please his enemy, of course he has to get rid of it. He kept Uchiha Madara before, just to please him by making him dance. But now Uchiha Madara's performance and strength are undoubtedly not up to this standard. Not to mention satisfying him. Even the passing line is still far away. I didn't expect that I, Madara, would be so despised one day. Uchiha Madara glared at Luo Hao with gritted teeth. This kind of contempt and casualness that never put him in the eye from the beginning to the end made him unacceptable. Susanoo. Advertisement. The first time. After becoming 10 Tails Jinchuriki, he played Susanoo for the first time. When his eyes were eternal Mangekyo, Susanoo was the best of all. After opening Rinnegan, although Susanoo is still a perfect body, her destructive power exceeds that of ordinary perfect bodies. 0 for flowers. Now it has become 10 Tails Jinchuriki, although the appearance of Susanoo remains the same, but its size is not under the complete 10 Tails sacred tree. The scale of this Susanoo is no less than that of the 10 Tails tailed beast bomb summoned by Sage of Six Paths and Kagayaji when they fought with their bare hands. 8-foot Chong Guyu. As soon as Susanoo, whose body was comparable to 10 tails and was still above true several thousand hands, appeared, he immediately threw 3 hook jades as huge as mountains at Luo Hao. And the Guyu was surrounded by truth-seeking balls. Finally looks like it. Seeing Susanoo in front of him, a smile appeared in Luo Hao's eyes for the first time. Apparently, this hand of Uchiha Madara brought him a little bit of joy. You seem to like playing Susan very much, don't you? Then I'll show you what Susan is. This time, he didn't use the fruit knife to pretend. It's not Uchiha Madara's strength that prevents him from pretending with fruit knives, but that he's tired of playing. The same pretend routine, the method is used once, twice is enough. If you use it again, pretend will not be able to achieve the effect of sending out groups. After casually throwing the fruit knife that Namikaze Minato handed over to the side, his pair of black pupils already burst into golden light. Uchiha Madara's golden version of reincarnation Sharingan was shown by him. At the same time, a golden Susanoo standing far above the 10 Tails sacred tree rose from the ground. Face off with Uchiha Madara's blue Susan. Just don't be afraid of not knowing the goods, but be afraid of comparing goods. Uchiha Madara's Susanoo is strong enough. At least the 9-tailed beasts are just a slap in the face in front of his Susanoo. Advertisement. Chapter 367. Susan Gundam plays like this. Advertisement. But when Luo Hao showed off his exclusive Gundam, the local gold version of Susanoo, and everyone looked at Uchiha Madara's blue Susanoo, they were no longer shocked at the beginning. Instead, this thought came to me. Too dumb. This blue Susan is obviously comparable in size to 10 tails, so huge. But compared to the golden Susan, it is like a 2 or 3-year-old child standing in front of a 2-meter man, obviously so small and powerless. Can Susan be this big? Uchiha Madara's eyes widened, shock written all over her Rinnegan's. Originally, he was a little happy to see Luo Hao no longer playing fruit knife. The big guy he showed himself with, 163, made Luo Hao finally dare not despise him anymore. But as Luo Hao also showed golden Susanoo, the little joy in his heart was instantly wiped out like sparks in a strong wind. Luo Hao doesn't use fruit knives in love, it's not because he showed Susanoo that he got the attention of the other party, but because he wants to play with him in a way. This is just like when he was fighting Hokage, he was just playing tricks, and he didn't fight seriously from the beginning to the end. Now, Uchiha Madara also feels what Hokage felt back then. His hard work. He dances with all his might. All his tricks. All of this is nothing more than a trick to please Luo Hao. What broke him down even more was that the little tricks he tried his best couldn't please Luo Hao. When Hokage faced him, at least he could please him. But when he faced Luo Hao, he couldn't please him at all. Boom. Advertisement. Uchiha Madara. This is how Susan Gundam plays. Just when Uchiha Madara was shocked and lost his mind, Luo Hao's golden Susanoo moved. First, he slapped out the 8-foot Chongu Jade thrown by Uchiha Madara, and even shattered 8 booger-like truth-seeking balls, and then the golden Susanoo pulled out a handful that could pierce even the sky golden chakra-long knife, slashing towards Uchiha Madara from the air. Boom. 1,000 meters. On the battlefield of the 4th Ninja World War, a bottomless abyss suddenly appeared under the knife of the golden Susanoo. As for Uchiha Madara's blue Susanoo, after one knife, it has already been split into pieces. And Uchiha Madara standing between the eyebrows of the blue Susanoo was smashed half of her body. Fortunately, although he is not nearly immortal like Kagayaji, as a 10 Tails Jinchuriki, he still has an extremely tenacious vitality and recovery ability. As the gap in the body squirmed, within a few seconds, the half of Uchiha Madara's lost body grew back. But even though his appearance was back to the original, but he was hit by Luo Hao's Susan, he naturally couldn't be unscathed. You can tell from his pale face that he is very uncomfortable right now. Looks at least a little bit worse than getting kicked by Emperor Guy. Is it only to this extent? This should be your limit. While Luo Hao was talking, the golden Susanoo raised the chakra-long knife again. Obviously, he has been completely disappointed with Uchiha Madara and has no interest in it anymore. It's not over yet. Uchiha Madara opened his hands with a grim face. With a bang, the 10 tails sucked into his stomach once again stood on the ground of the ninja world. At the same time, the smashed Susanoo reappeared, turned into blue armor and draped over the 10 tails. Advertisement. Weizhuang 10 tails. Uchiha Madara pushes forward with both hands. 0. 10-tailed beast bombs condense instantly. At the same time, the sacred tree itself extended an arm covered with Susanoo armor. Immediately after these arms appeared, they inserted a pair of blue chakra-long knives into the tailed beast bomb. Immediately afterwards, 10 shuriken-like tailed beast bombs bombarded Luo Hao at the same time. Master Hokage, this thing is not a joke. Seeing this scene, Namikaze Minato's expression became solemn. Anyone falling on the ninja world is enough to change the terrain. Hitaki Sakumo reminded. Obviously, he doesn't want Luo Hao to let these things fall on the land of the ninja world just to pretend. Back then, Kagayaji's family had a civil war, but it directly smashed the entire ninja world into 100 holes, and the ones that caused the most damage were Susanoo of Sage of Six Paths, Kagayaji's 10 Tails, and Otsutsuki Hamura's Golden Wheel reincarnation explosion. Uchiha Madara's strength is naturally not as good as Sage of Six Paths, let alone Kagayaji. But with 10 tails equipped with Susanoo and the power of 10-tailed beast bombs, let alone destroying a ninja village, even destroying a country is 0.5 of a problem. Why do you guys in Uchiha like Susan so much and play tailed beast bomb so much? Ninja World, but Luo Hao's home field, is also his territory. Now that the ninja world is about to be unified, he will naturally not let Uchiha Madara destroy the land of the ninja world casually. Don't look at the fact that he just cut 10,000 meters just now to cause sabotage. In fact, he has tried his best to restrain the knife just now, and the control is not right, causing Huzi to break. Otherwise, how can it be as simple as cutting out a 10,000-meter canyon with one knife? With this knife down, it is normal for a country in the ninja world to disappear. Advertisement. Chapter 368 10 Tails Shinigami Tree. Learn about Black Coffin. Advertisement. Since you love playing Suzo and playing 10 Tails so much, I'll show you what real 10 Tails are. Facing the 10-tailed beast bombs that were bigger than meteorites bombarded by Uchiha Madara, Luo Hao not only did not use Susan to block them, but directly dispersed his own Susan Gundam, and then dodged back to the Shinigami tree above. Exactly. I also want to see whether my divine tree is stronger or your divine tree is stronger. Seeing Luo Hao's actions, Uchiha Madara immediately understood that Luo Hao wanted to play summon beasts with her. Compete to see whose summon beast is stronger. Correct it. It's a Shinigami tree, not a sacred tree. As soon as Luo Hao finished speaking, the Shinigami tree moved. This Shinigami tree created by him pouring the resources of the entire Soul Society is definitely not just for breeding chakra fruit. Chakra fruit aside, the Shinigami tree itself is 30 a tailed beast. An extremely terrifying tailed beast, even beyond the category of tailed beasts. And Uchiha Madara's giant tailed beast bomb that is about to hit the other side made everyone understand why Luo Hao emphasized the difference between the Shinigami tree and the sacred tree. Facing 10 giant-tailed beast bombs that were bigger than meteorites, the Shinigami tree instantly grew 10 arms spanning the sky, and then under Uchiha Madara's shocking gaze, he held 10 giant-tailed beast bombs in his hands at the same time and then gently pinch. With a bang, the 10-tailed beast bombs seemed to be restrained by some kind of force. Except that it could only be turned into countless fragments like a crushed balloon, there was no explosion that rewritten the terrain of the ninja world at all. Fine, I'm afraid 4th generation is playing too hard and letting these tailed beast bombs fall on the ninja world. Hitaki Tsukumo breathed a sigh of relief. This tailed beast bomb is naturally immune to death him. But the problem is that they can kill 99% of the ninjas here. Advertisement. Even after these tailed beast bombs land here and explode, a country is gone. Everyone in this country will be wiped out. Unfortunately, the land under their feet is the land of the Fire Nation. The explosion of the tailed beast bomb not only means that the land of fire will disappear, but even the Konohagakure built on the land of fire will disappear in an instant, turning into dust of history. This kind of thing is definitely not what he wants to see. I just got ready to move these big-tailed beast bombs. Namikaze Minato also wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. Can you transfer? Nara Shikahisa said bluntly. Can't. Namikaze Minato gave a wry smile. He's alive now, not the body of Chakra's infinite impure world reincarnation. What's more, even if it is a dirty area, there is no way to transfer this kind of tailed beast bomb. No way, the gap is too big. The infinite chakra of impure world reincarnation is not really infinite. In fact, all the ninjas of impure world reincarnation, their chakra is definitely not as much as in life. Just the body of impure world reincarnation can make them recover quickly after using up all the chakra. That's why there is a saying of infinite chakra. Then, to transfer Uchiha Madara's tailed beast bomb, even Namikaze Minato, who has activated the eternal Mangekyo at this time, can't do it, even if he has the chakra recovery ability of the body of impure world reincarnation, but this recovery will definitely not be able to keep up with the transfer of tailed consumption of beast bomb. Finally willing to use the big guy Shinigami tree. Compared with Namikaze Minato and others who are worried about the ninja land and countless human beings, Ant Snake's mind is much simpler. Her focus is on Luo Hao's Shinigami tree. Advertisement. As for the humans in ninja land, he will not bother at all. To her, even if all the human beings in the ninja world are dead, it is insignificant. With the chakra technology he has now mastered, even if all the ninja humans die, he can recreate a batch. Madara, do you want to see who is stronger between your sacred tree and my Shinigami tree? Then don't blink, because the gap between the two sides is big enough to tell the difference in an instant. Luo Hao patted the Shinigami tree lightly while talking. Knowing what he meant, the Shinigami tree made a bold move. 437 The 10 arms of the Shinigami tree were raised high at the same time, followed by 10 immature but powerful voices resounding throughout the battlefield. Black Coffin. That's right, it's Hado's 90 Black Coffin. The Hado ability of the Shinigami system. This is why Luo Hao calls his 10 tails Shinigami trees. Because the Shinigami tree cultivated in the Soul Society not only has all the abilities beyond the Ninja God tree, but also has all the power of the Shinigami system. The Shinigami tree that has grown up by absorbing the spiritual power of countless Shinigami and absorbing countless spiritual seeds from the Soul Society, let alone cast Kido, even she has the ability of Zanpakuto. As long as there is a creator, there will be a Shinigami tree. Luo Hao doesn't care about Uchiha Madara. The Shinigami tree also looks down on the God tree opposite. In her heart, this level of 10 tails is not qualified for her to show Zanpakuto. Clean up the sacred tree on the opposite side, and just use Hado Black Coffin casually. Advertisement. Chapter 369 The Power of Black Coffin, Burying Lord Madara and the Divine Tree. Advertisement. As the slightly immature voice of the Shinigami tree resounded through the void, the mighty Reiatsu burst out instantly, and a terrifying Reiatsu storm rolled up in the sky above the land of fire. A group of Konoha shinobi in the distance felt this great power, but all ninjas below cage level felt as if their chests were oppressed by a mountain. Such Reiatsu is so strong that they can't bear it at all. The Konoha shinobi players below the cage level fell to the ground one by one like harvested wheat. Fortunately, the Reiatsu emitted by the Shinigami tree when it released the black coffin did not deliberately target them. In addition, Hitaki Tsukumo and other high-level Konoha officials saw that the situation was wrong, and immediately set up the barrier. Among the tens of thousands of Konoha shinobi brought by Luo Hao, all but one aside from a short period of hypoxia, Fangfo did not suffer much damage. But the momentary sense of oppression brought to them by the Reiatsu emanating from the Shinigami tree still makes all Konoha shinobi users feel lingering fear. Such power. It's too scary. If the Shinigami tree is used to destroy the 5 great ninja villages, there is no need to take action at all, just to explode all the overwhelming Reiatsu, and all ninjas below cage level will lose their combat capabilities. Much more domineering than Conqueror's Haki. Even if it is a cage level powerhouse, it is difficult for Shinigami to show his full battle experience under the shock of Reiatsu against Shinigami. Bang! When the Reiatsu of the Shinigami tree ascended to ultimate, as if it was about to strike down the full moon in the sky, a jet black light shot up into the sky. In Setsuna, a black cuboid that penetrates the sky and the earth is formed, and the Buddha can hold everything in the world. From a distance, this black cuboid looks like a coffin. A coffin that can bury all creatures in the ninja world. Advertisement. And Uchiha Madara, and the 10 Tails God Tree under his feet are the ones to be buried. The moment Black Coffin appeared, Uchiha Madara sensed something was wrong. But before he left to escape, Black Coffin released the gravitational force that distorted the space and shattered the vacuum. In the face of this gravitational force, Uchiha Madara's face seemed to be trampled on by Emperor Guy's big feet, and he couldn't move at all. Among coffins. When the black coffin was completely closed, no one knew what happened inside except Luo Hao and the Shinigami tree. The only thing that can be known is that when the black coffin reopened, the sky for several kilometers was covered by dense space cracks. Obviously, this blow of black coffin distorted several kilometers of space until it cracked open. And when they were imprisoned in Black Coffin and Uchiha Madara and Shenshu reappeared in the ninja world, Nara Shikaku and the others were taken aback on the spot. As Uchiha Madara of 10 Tails Jinchuriki, the word riddled with holes cannot describe his miserable state at this time. After receiving a blow from Black Coffin, even though it was protected by the 10 Tails sacred tree covered with Susanoo armor, Uchiha Madara's body was still like a broken glass bottle, with cracks all over his body including his brain. His body is no different from a glass bottle that breaks at any time. If a gust of wind blows by, he will be smashed to pieces, broken into countless pieces of flesh and blood. And 10 Tails, being the first one, was also the one who suffered the damage from Black Coffin head-on. He is worse than Uchiha Madara. Needless to say, the Susanoo armor that covered him disappeared, leaving nothing behind. Immediately afterwards, Shenshu's body that pierced through the sky was smashed into countless sections. It looks like a tree has been dismembered, it looks horrible, and it makes people feel shocking when they see it. Advertisement. They are all 10 Tails, why is there such a big gap? You and I both got the power of 10 Tails, why is the gap still so big? Uchiha Madara looked up at Luo Hao with difficulty. He may have been talking too hard, with every word a part of his cracked body fell off. When he tried his best to speak 2 complete sentences, his whole body was torn apart, like a pile of rubbish that had been swept together. Losing the support of his body, his head fell to the ground. Fortunately, as 10 Tails Jinchuriki, he has incredible vitality. Even though his body was smashed to pieces, and even his head was about to explode at any time, he still didn't die. Even his powerful vitality caused his brain to rapidly regenerate the shattered body. But although he is not dead yet, for Uchi Wang Dahao, Bo Madara, it is no different from dead. He can't understand. I am clearly 10 Tails Jinchuriki, why is there such a big gap with Luo Hao? He didn't understand that he had 10 tails in his hand, and Luo Hao also had 10 tails, why the difference of 1 star could be so big. At this moment, he even suspected that what he was holding was a fake 10 tails, and he was also a fake 10 Tails Jinchuriki. Only in this way can it explain why the gap between him and Luo Hao is so huge. Why did I say that I am 10 Tails Jinchuriki? Luo Hao looked at Uchiha Madara who was prostrate on the ground and was struggling to survive with a half smile. Advertisement. Chapter 370 Madara. Maybe this is my last dance. Advertisement. Are you 10 Tails Jinchuriki? Uchiha Madara stunned. It really never occurred to him that Luo Hao wasn't 10 Tails Jinchuriki. In his opinion, Luo Hao worked so hard to produce a sacred tree, it must become 10 Tails Jinchuriki. Otherwise, how could Luo Hao without the blood of 6 paths have such strength? But now, Luo Hao's words shattered his intuitive thinking all the time. This is the difference between you and me. Madara, do you think the best way to harness the power of the 10 Tails is to become a Jinchuriki? As everyone knows, the real power of 10 Tails does not lie in the 3 words Jinchuriki. Luo Hao chuckled and shook his head. Could it be chakra fruit? Uchiha Madara thinks of the myths and legends he pursued. There used to be a chakra fruit in the sacred tree. Just got eaten by a human princess. Not stupid. The power of the sacred tree is divided into two types. One is the power of the sacred tree itself, and the other is the chakra fruit. And I, not only ate the chakra fruit, but also mastered the Shinigami tree. All power equivalent to the Shinigami tree belongs to me. 213. What about you? Chakra fruit no. Even the strength of 10 tails itself is crippled. Losing her way. 8 tails, 9 tails, how can you fight against me with such incomplete 10 tails? Advertisement. Luo Hao sneered. Why does Sage of Six Paths always insist that the Kage who was sealed by him is the strongest? If he didn't defend his mother, he wouldn't like it either. But Kage is really the strongest. Because only Kage eats the fruit of the sacred tree, and at the same time merges with the sacred tree itself, and belongs to the person who truly possesses all the power of the sacred tree. In addition to Kage, whether it is Sage of Six Paths, Uchiha Obito, or Uchiha Madara, they are all 10 tails Jinchuriki. They have the power of 10 tails after losing the chakra fruit in addition to their own power. Chakra fruit. So the chakra fruit is missing. DADF. A deep regret flashed in Uchiha Madara's eyes. He knew he would never have the chance to get the chakra fruit again. At least Luo Hao will not give him this chance. With his current broken body, not to mention that it will take a certain amount of time to recover, even if he recovers, it will only be a superficial recovery, and his strength will inevitably be greatly damaged. Even with the vitality of 10 tails Jinchuriki, it will take a long time for him to heal and return to his peak strength. Before that, how did he have a chance to get the chakra fruit? Master Madara, don't give up. We also have infinite Tsukuyomi. Just when Uchiha Madara was disheartened and was about to close his eyes and wait for death, the loyal Black Zetsu once again put on the vest of Uchiha Madara's will, quietly lurking in the ground where Uchiha Madara was lying on his stomach, and then carefully said to Uchiha Madara. Right, I still have infinite Tsukuyomi. Can make people all over the world fall into Tsukuyomi. Even if infinite Tsukuyomi can't deal with Tenin, but the other Konoha shinobi are hit by infinite Tsukuyomi, he still needs time to save it. When Uchiha Madara heard this, a gleam burst out from the depths of her eyes. At this moment, he was like a drowning man. Black Zetsu's words are like giving him a life-saving straw. Advertisement. Regardless of whether this straw can save his own life, it is definitely not his style to sit and wait for death. Maybe, this is my last dance for Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara smiled self-deprecatingly, then let go of everything, and looked up at the moon in the sky. Infinite Tsukuyomi. At some point, his forehead was cracked, and there was a crack between his brows. The moment he cast infinite Tsukuyomi, the rift opened instantly, and a blood-red reincarnation Sharingan emerged. At the same time, a bright moon in the sky was also stained red with blood. Finally, the surface of the moon emerged with the pattern of reincarnation Sharingan. The current moon is like an enlarged version of the Scarlet Samsara Sharingan hanging in the sky. It's infinite Tsukuyomi. Nara Shikaju opened the Rinnegan in shock, and looked at the moon in the sky. You have fallen to this point, are you still refusing to give up? Hitaki Sakumo turned on the Tenseigan, ready to shoot. It's a little troublesome. Namikaze Minato looked at the bloody moon in the sky with Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan open. His face is extremely dignified. Because although he can open the full-body Susanoo, the Susanoo cast by Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan's pupil power is not enough to resist the penetration of infinite Tsukuyomi. At least his pupil power has to reach the level of Rinnegan to be able to resist it. Guy, Snake, Sister Snake, I might ask you to take action later. With me and Luju alone, it is not a problem to protect ourselves, but it is a bit difficult to protect the tens of thousands of Konoha shinobi from the influence of infinite Tsukuyomi. Quote. Hitaki Sakumo to Might Guy and Ant Snake. One of these two has activated Tenseigan, and the other has activated Rinnegan. His pupil power is still higher than that of him and Nara Shikaku. Only the two of them make a move, and the four of them can protect all the Konoha shinobi behind them. Advertisement.